So
All right, everybody who's in the chat, thank you to our three early people. As you can see, we have the myth, the legend above me. He does go by that quite often, and the
Yes.
man who's always
Yes.
reliable below me tonight. So Jim is here. He is an old time member of the community. You want to say hi, Bebeomega, and then we'll let Jim go ahead and talk a little bit about what he's been up to.
yeah, hi everybody. Hi Stop Jockey, Vozena, and R&B, which are straight from the beginning. We appreciate you guys, and I hope you enjoy this episode with this awesome guest, Jim.
And let's
Man. So, if you guys don't know who I am, you've been living under a rock, or you're new to the game. I don't know what else to tell you. But me, I am the full-time Splinterlands troll alpha gamer, and I took a little break, but I'm slowly getting back into it. Kind of sold off a bunch of things for some SPS. I'm not mad about that at all. And just kind of working on things for the future of my life now. So, just working on different things.
All right.
Awesome.
And those who don't know and think that maybe Jim is completely stepped aside from YouTube and Twitch and Splinterlands and any kind of personal thing, he is featured on this channel over here, and it is linked in the description. It's called Hobbies and Happiness. This is for when you don't want to have to worry about your assets going up and down and just want to spend money on games. Right? That's basically what you guys focus on, mostly the newer TCG games that are coming out, newer board games that are coming out,
Yeah.
different kind of pop-up games from Kickstarters and things like that.
Mhm.
Obviously, I've outed myself. I don't watch all the videos. This
Me
is
neither, dude. I
but
don't watch them.
but that's also because quite frequently you're not on them, Jim. When I do tune in, it's always just the other guy. Then I'm like, well, I don't really know him.
Well, he does it sometimes, like that one with the DC from 12 days ago. But most of the time,
Yeah.
I'm on them. Like
So
99.
I'll start trying to catch them a little bit more, but there's been so much going on in the world of Splinterlands. I don't know how up to date you are, but today we'll be bringing you back up to date. But look what's getting closer to Peg, Jim.
Beautiful.
And
Beautiful.
Bebeomega, what's going to happen when that gets to Peg?
Fly with you. We're going to fly. Fly me to the moon, baby.
And yeah, my most popular video recently was my SPS is gonna 100x, and 100x, that makes this like $22 a coin or something like that, or more even.
Isn't it
um,
100x is $2 a coin?
no, oh wait, maybe it is. Yeah, like wait,
Just
let's.
move the
You know what?
decimal
I
over
don't
two.
I don't trust my math when I'm trying to
Just move
talk
the
to people.
decimal over two.
Oh oh no wait, we're not 002. We're just
Just
O 02.
just move the decimal over two.
Six times. I'm
Please.
double checking.
Please, for the
Yes,
love of God.
226. 226. 1 2. 1 2. Okay. Okay, we got it. And yes, tonight Stock Jockey is correct. You have two gold foil Lux owners in the chat, and the man, the myth, the legend that pulled two somehow when he only bought how many?
Two.
You talk
Got real lucky.
anybody, no one will be, I don't think anyone will ever be as lucky as Jim was when he bought those two cards. I don't think that'll
Yeah.
happen again until I see a like really expensive one of a time promo for the first ever Splinterland. Wait, that can't happen again.
It literally
And
can't happen.
I got lucky that the man was in love with SPS even back then. And what's amazing is that if SPS goes to $2, Jim, do you know how much I paid for that Lux?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Yeah, I
it
know.
would be over $300,000 if
Yeah, it's
we
a lot.
100x, guys, because I gave him over 150,000 SPS plus a ton of cards
Yeah.
to get that gold foil Lux because we were down in the dumps. Um,
Did you
and
not have one
and
for Splinterfest?
no, I did. I got a regular one. I didn't get
Yeah.
a gold foil one.
Why?
So
Weren't the VIPs guaranteed a gold foil one?
That was the VIP ticket
the VIP ticket was for like a card
coupon code.
that's a gold foil Lux. This is pretty unique. It's more unique than gold foil Lux, even though I don't know how good it's going to show. Oh no, it was gold foil Blight for the VIP ticket.
No, but
Oh,
what I'm
that.
saying is the ones that were having VIP tickets, I think they all got the gold foil Las Vegas.
No,
They got a code to reduce it by like $2,000.
Okay,
we
yeah,
got a discount code. I
yeah,
sold my discount code to somebody else. We didn't just
okay,
get one.
yeah.
So I sold the discount code, bought other things with the money because I wasn't including the Luxes I did buy, because I bought regular ones, and then eventually I had two regulars. When he pulled two, luckily, I was able to talk him into giving one to me.
Oh, okay.
But he ransomed a ton of SPS and a whole bunch of cards from me. And then eventually those cards turned into more SPS to the point where you might have caught up or passed me. What is your bag at nowadays?
Well, I actually had to take some out to help my brother. But I'm at 200K right now.
Okay, yeah. So he had caught up to me. I know he was close to 400K at one point.
Yeah,
but life happens. And that's understandable, sir. But still, okay. So we got to get it to $3 so that Jim can be a millionaire too. Right? No, 5. We got to get to 5. 5 for you. Right?
Well, I mean, I'm gonna get more. Don't you worry.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I mean,
because actually, I realized why I lowballed us so much at $2, Jim. It's because my video actually said 1000x.
Oh, I see.
So 322.60.
I gotcha.
And if did you see my reasoning behind this?
No, I haven't watched it yet.
Okay, so I'll give you the quick breakdown. I'm gonna have to shrink us for a moment, guys, because otherwise I can't get around these. And Bebeomega kind of agrees with me here, and
I do. About what?
I think you at least kind of. You know what I got to remember? I have to claim my rewards manually now, guys. I used to have a bot that did this for me, and now I forget, and I have 3,000 SPS sitting here.
Dude, that's how I was the other day. I came back after a week. I'm like, oh, that's a nice chunk of SPS chilling.
So it's kind of funny. But when you come to this tab, there's a tab that most players of the game ignore, and it's this one. So because I've got a decent history of crypto and what happened the last bull run, when there was an opportunity to make a very high APR on a stable coin, it made Terra Luna go up over 1000x. But Terra Luna had that flaw where you could unburn Luna to make the other coin, as well as the APR in their game not being supported by anything other than, I don't know, the cash that they hid from their pre-sale, right? They were basically paying that 20% from their own money, and so that made them eventually run out of money, because how can you pay that high of a percentage on a stable coin? You have to be making over 20% on your investments, and that's hard to do. However, for us, we have a coin that's being issued that can be burned to mint the other coin, but can't be unburned to unminted. So because of that, right now you have two pools here. This one's DEC DAI, and this one's here is DEC BUSD. These are stable coins paying 11% and 14%. The Anchor protocol paid 20. You could maybe call it like 23 to 25 with the Deegan protocol, and that's what pumped Luna to crazy amounts. So if DEC becomes a stable coin because of land, and the flywheel starts to go, and we get SPS to say a dime, so we're at like 2.2 cents. So you 5x to a dime, maybe we'll call it a 4x on the math. Then this pool is now not 15%, it's 60%. This pool isn't 12%, it's 48% on stable coins. Now, you'd think, well, people are going to fly into those, right? They're going to fly into them and push those APRs back down. But they can't, because how do you get DEC? The only way to get it is to buy the SPS and burn it, or buy it, pump it over peg if you wanted to put a big amount of money into that pool, because it's stable coins earning a good percentage. You're going to have to pump the APR first, then dilute the APR. This creates a vicious cycle of outside money that just is chasing high APRs on stable coins, possibly pushing SPS to ungodly amounts because they don't care what SPS is. They want it to be an ungodly amount because it's what they're getting paid in.
Yeah.
They want to push it and push it and push it. And even when they want to dump it, they're going to burn it to DEC and then dump the DEC. So the only thing that we have to have is enough people wanting to play this wheel for long enough that SPS could become ridiculously stupid and broken. That is how we get to 1000X. That's how you get to $22, $25 SPS. That's how you become a multimillionaire from holding 200,000 coins. And people think, but that doesn't work because it breaks the game. Let me tell you something. Yield chasers don't care. They don't care. They just want to earn their money in this amazing this is the only tab they'll ever see, is this one. And then to boot, when they're getting paid that SPS, if they push this up to 60%, well, then SPS wrapped ETH is, well, it would be over 100. SPS BNB, it would also be over 100. So, you know, it's just like any good DeFi protocol, you're going to get paid in SPS, and instead of dumping it all, if it's true moon boy time, if it's true bull market, what do people do? They double down and they go into these other pools. And so this is the scenario, and the reason why I made that video, and I was glad it got a lot of views, I threw it up on Twitter because I'm starting to post videos on Twitter, was because if this happens, the people who just decided to play this little game are going to become very wealthy crypto people just because we played this little game. And so now that I went on the little, like we're all going to be rich, you can poke holes in it if you'd like, and I'll go look at the chat because I've been ignoring it.
I was just wondering, in order to access this liquidity pools page, you do have to have a spell book, right? I mean, you cannot hold assets if you don't have a spell book.
I haven't confirmed that, but if you want to put $100,000 into a stable pool as a $10 spell,
No, I understand. I'm not saying it's a stopping factor or anything. I'm just wondering if that's the case, and if it is, it will help the company as well on top of everything else. So I mean, it sounds like a win-win. But it seems to me like makes sense that if that's the only place you can afford the claiming, I mean, it's the only place you can access the claiming, probably you should have a spell book. Because I remember when they changed having assets on a Hive account without having Splinterlands asset on Hive account without spell book, it was not possible at some point. So I'm not sure if that's still the case, but
and you know, when people wonder what like those new accounts that sign up and don't buy spell books are doing, you know, I'd have to look into it. Maybe I'll actually connect one of my accounts that doesn't have a spell book because I have some extra accounts and figure out if you can access these pools.
Yeah.
Because I mean all you have to do is link your outside wallets. That's the crazy thing about these pools too, compared to anything else. So even Anchor Protocol, you had to stake your coins in, and there was some kind of unstaking process, especially if you were in the Deegan box where you were borrowing against your money. But in these, you're just holding this LP in your wallet, which means there's no staking involved. You're in complete control. It's the best form of DeFi there is. And paying incredible things because none of this stuff is even on Hive. You don't have to touch Hive for this. This is the Ethereum chain or the BNB chain. So those guys with those big money on those chains, they don't have to come into Hive in any real financial way. All they might have to do is click buy a spellbook, and when you buy a spellbook, you can pay with a ton of crypto, right? Just any crypto. Now, hopefully, like anyone else that comes into here who's chasing these, they start to look at the ecosystem. They start to look at the different things that you can do. Maybe if land is popping off at that point and paying off in high percentages, they start looking into owning land in our ecosystem instead of some of the other land ecosystems out there. But, you know, it's definitely an interesting thing.
Yes.
Yeah, and my current stake of SPS, I did something, and I'll run this by you guys and the chat, and you can tell me, was this a good decision? The other day after my stream with where Rondon joined me on Wednesdays nights, we were talking nodes, we were talking SPS, we were talking how we both believe SPS is going to amazing places. We were talking about the Soulkeep thing. You know the tower defense game. Have you heard the news on this, Jim? That you're going to have SPS stake to earn to play Soulkeep.
Beautiful.
And
I
you
think I
have
did
to,
see about that.
But not the same
and
FPS.
it can't be the same SPS that you use to earn in Splinterlands. So you're sitting pretty. This actually, Jim, could make you one of the highest earning players in Soulkeep, because I'm only going to move over about 40k SPS. You're going to move over 200 if you move it all over, because you don't play Splinterlands currently.
Yeah.
But if you're planning to play Soulkeep, then you would have 200,000 staked and be one of the bigger stakes. Now, obviously, there's a few whales out there with millions of SPS.
Yeah.
They can afford to stake into both games, but most of us cannot. Even myself with a pretty good stake, since I'm playing in Champion, I need 420,000 over there. I'm in a guild, so I don't need the 450 that you would normally get, because I'm getting a nice guild bonus that's helping me. But in Soulkeep, I'm only planning on moving over like 40,000. And I got this 40,000 the other day after talking about how I was going to need it and I didn't know where I was going to get it. I sold a validator node. I have 2 validator nodes. I bought them in pre-sale. Me and Rondon went back and looked at it. At the time and the cost of SPS, I spent around 10 to 11,000 SPS to get that validator node, along with vouchers. But when I sold it, I took every dollar that I made I got 1,925 hive, and I bought 33,000 SPS with it.
Oh,
because when I did the math of the daily payout currently, when we're all getting paid for holding vouchers, it was going to take 3 years for the node to pay me 33,000 SPS. Or I could get the 33,000 SPS today and stake it immediately, start earning that extra percentage, and then have some SPS to move into Soulkeep, even though I don't like that's going to happen. It looks like it definitely is from the beginning of that vote. So I told him I was actually kind of against it, because I'm like, well, now all the SPS whales can go play that game, but any new tower defense people are going to have to buy SPS to earn. Maybe that's good, but the game better be good. Otherwise, people aren't going to buy a token to play it to earn and cards.
Yeah, I already said my opinion about that, but we happen to disagree on this, but it's okay. I mean, whatever comes.
Yeah. Hey,
well, I'm so glad I'm sitting on those packs.
Yeah, are you still sitting on them?
I'm sitting on some. Yeah, I have 330 right now.
Okay, so you still have more than me. I'm only sitting on 205. I sold like 20 when they spiked up a few weeks back.
I don't blame you.
Yeah, because I need ungodly amounts of DEC for land. I have currently 4 million in tribal decks and 400,000 sitting on my account here, so like 4.4 million. But I'm still short. Literally, like, if I wanted to max out all 200 of my lands, I need 10 million. So I'm only halfway there.
You're not even halfway there yet.
Yeah, I'm not even halfway there yet. And this is why when Aggie says in his videos, guys, nobody's ready for DEC. Ganks says he's not ready. The only people who say they're ready are mostly people who have about 50 plots or less. And it's, or I'd say even 20 plots or less, because then they only need like 100,000. Yeah, like are you to max out right? 2 plots? You only need what 10,000 DEC. You need 10 max monsters and 10,000 DEC to max those 2 lands out. Yeah. So that's where it gets kind of crazy.
I still want to get a keep though. Yeah. Have my following around me.
I don't know all of your financials, Jim, and I'm not your financial advisor, but land is about to kick off, and if it's lucrative, things are not going to get cheaper than they are today.
I know.
Also, if you do plan to at least play with those 2 lands you got, you need to get 10 monsters that you want to put on those lands, and you said you only have 2. So
I have a couple more. Okay, I was slowly getting into like the rental market, so I have a couple of cards.
Okay. So Do you watch either of the town hall or the they do the new no
I
wait.
was in
Town
there
Square.
today, and I tend
Town
to check it
Square.
out every now and again. Um, but usually it tends to be online, or they tend to stream it whenever I'm either at work or when I'm getting back from work and knocking out for the day. So, yeah, I don't really get to listen.
Yeah, and Aggie admitted something today that even Aggie of all people, this is just to remind people that we're going to see a run on assets here in the next couple of weeks, in my opinion, because
Yeah,
we're getting land on the map server this
on
weekend.
farms and
If
yeah,
everything works out, and we don't break it once the Mavs start playing with it and like totally go like, oh, all this stuff doesn't work, then we're looking at it probably. What do you think? But maybe Omega Tuesday.
Tuesday. And I said it
You think quick? Yeah.
I said it on my stream last Wednesday. Like the way I see it, I was expecting next I mean this Tuesday, Thursday, Wednesday, something like that, Mafak access. I got that wrong. I mean it's obviously in the weekend, but still I said 15. Remember I said 15 August 15 when is the next Tuesday? Remember I said that's where I'm expecting it, and I'm still expecting it to come exactly then. I mean, it can be the Thursday after on like 17th, but I'm still, or that's what Tuesday. It's 16th, or
Yeah, I mean, I'm thinking that if it goes well this weekend, because that still gives them this week to work on it and button things up, then it goes live on Mab on like Saturday, and then we play with it Sunday, Monday. It could possibly come out Tuesday the 15th. I
I
think
think it should not be more than 3 days in maths. Yeah,
yeah, the safe day to expect it is the 22nd, though, because there's a chance the Mavs are going to find some stuff, especially because the Mavs are going to be going crazy. Because over on the Mavs server, I have like 100 billion DEC and a maxed out gold card collection. And so I'm gonna be
yeah.
staking like everything to all 200 of my lands and at max level, and we're going to be throwing like massive things out there and massive amounts of staking. Everyone who has stuff over there is going to be having a ton of fun with it. I imagine all the streamers are going to be streaming it. All the people are going to be making videos. If we break it, um, or we find a lot of bugs in like day one, I go check out this infinite SBS glitch I found, guys. Then they're going to have to fix those things.
I've just noticed that when something goes in math for math access, it's like up maximum 2 days when it holds some interest, and then it's dead. Like so, I don't think it will linger on the QA server for long. I'm thinking it's pretty realistic to say that August 15th we can expect land, and not a financial advice, just what I think, and that's what I've been thinking for quite a while now.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you for the most part, but I do think that in those 2 to 3 days, the Mavs have caused certain things to get changed. The most dramatic example of that is the cards.
Yeah.
When they've released new cards, we've found out that certain abilities are broken very quickly and had them edit those cards before they get released.
And
And
do you
so
remember
if
how long it took to change the cards? A
yeah,
day?
not long, not long. But I mean, if somebody figures out some kind of broken way to like check this out, like when I put my Rooney in and then I take him out and then I put him in and take him out, he's still there. And now I can do that across all 200 of my lands. Then they're going to have to go fix that. And the Rooney's the place where I expect there to possibly be bugs because it almost didn't make the cut. Last town hall, like 2 town halls ago. Wait, it's town hall and town.
Where?
What? Yeah, square. Last town square, they casually said Rooney wasn't going to be in land 1.5, and then the community completely lost it, and now it is going to be in 1.5, but that means it obviously wasn't as buttoned up and ready to go. So I think that's the one thing that could push it back an extra week, and that wouldn't bug me. If there's some problem with it, they'll need to fix it. But that's why I'd say the safe time is like the 22nd. But the reason why assets are going to fly after this happens, you've already got people starting to pull their cards from the rental market, which should make rental prices go up a little bit because SPS earnings are pretty good in Modern now for real players. So they will probably be willing to pay for more. But because you saw me just a moment ago for a few days collect like 2,000 SPS down here, mostly in land rewards. And those rewards could go up for me, someone who does have enough to about deploy half of my land, which is still not very good to say I can deploy about half, a little bit less technically. It's a little bit more because I do have 5 Roonies. So when you stake the Roonies, you don't have to stake DEC in those plots. So I get 5 free plots. So it's a little bit extra DEC I save, but not much. But I'll get close to about half deployed. But if I go all SPS on that half in the beginning, because I have some grain, and I just want to be that guy who goes, I'm going to get as much SPS as I can for like 3 days until the grain I got when I bought my land runs out, then there's a possibility, as Bebeomega has thought about, that if only about 10% to 15% of land gets deployed on SPS, with a maybe 20% to 25% getting deployed on everything, that the land SPS rewards go up by about 5x. So instead of earning, this 2,000 was a little bit from other stuff, but instead of earning 1,000 over a couple of days, I'm earning 5, 6, 7,000 SPS over a couple of days in the beginning. And then when that starts happening, people are going to go, whoa, I want to deploy more of my land. I want to deploy more of my land. I need to get DEC. I need to get cards. Look at these returns. They're wild. And eventually that'll taper off when they come back down a little bit to normal. But right now, picture it like every person who has a plot is getting SPS for every plot they have. In maybe less than a couple weeks, that's going to completely change. At best, it could be every other plot because you have to realistically have one working on grain. And then if you want to do, anybody who wants to do magic, they're just going to be exiting those SPS rewards to getting redistributed. So the beginning of land is going to be wild. Do you agree with me on that on Bebeomega? The SPS is going to just, your earning potential is crazy.
I mean, especially now when they said that there won't be any grain trading. So there will be even fewer people, I would think, starting straight off with the SPS. Either that or there will be a lot of DEC burned for people buying grain. But that definitely would change some people's ideas, what they want to do. Like when now they have to choose where they have to dedicate some plots to actual grain so they can make it sustainable, or they have to spend DEC for that grain. So it's like, as unfortunate as it is that we don't have the trading of grain yet, I think it might turn out to be a good thing at the end.
Yeah, and just going through the three of us with a caveat that we're not financial advisors, Birds, Bees, and Trees would like to know, guys, is this a good time to buy SPS? At 2.
I heard Jim is a financial advisor now.
Oh, Jim is?
Yeah, that's what I heard.
Guys, it's always a good time to buy SPS. There's just sometimes better times. But now doesn't seem like a bad time to me.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at it, we set, just if you're charting, guys, and I'm a very, very novice charter, you set a new high, you set a lower low, and you started to recover. If this can break this 2.4,
that's a higher low.
That's a super bullish thing.
That's a higher low.
Yeah, this is a higher low than this low.
Yeah, but because you said lower low. No, like,
I meant to say higher low. Like
if it was lower low, it would be bad.
if you look from here, at least, if you look from here, you could make a slight argument that that's a lower low. But I'm gonna look from here because you can make a chart out however you want, and you went up. You retraced, went down, but then you caught here. You didn't fall down into like this super low area again, and then we started to turn around. And I mean, I bought 30,000 SPS just a few days ago. Now, I did do it by selling a node, so it wasn't outside capital coming in. But I did think that you're not going to see 2 cent SPS for much longer because, from what I can tell, a lot of people are going to be needing DEC, and there's just not enough in the ecosystem, guys. There is.
If you scroll down a little bit, what are we at? Like 4.6?
Yeah, I gotta move this so they can see. Look at this. We're still going down. And the other thing is, so when you say 4.6, this is what Aggie reminded us today. Splinterlands, the company, is holding $1 billion. So now you're at 3.6. The people who are in the liquidity pools to earn rewards, market makers, they're holding about another $1 billion. They're not necessarily going to come out of those liquidity pools. Now, some of it might, but as more people come out, the whales who don't need to come out, who are just there for earning or are legitimate market makers, they're not coming out of those pools. They're just going to get paid more because there's less people in them.
Yeah.
So he guesstimated out of this like 4.65 billion or whatever, that there's really only somewhere between 2 and 3 billion liquid for land, like that you can actually buy. And that is with so many people needing to buy it over the foreseeable future. And once it gets really close to peg, that's when people will just stop selling SPS because they can just burn it and turn it into DEC, and it's a simpler step. And that like, for lazy people, that might be at like a 5% loss. You know, just be like, I could transfer it to Tribal Dex and buy it and move it back, but there's some slippage on the buy because the order book is thin. I'll just burn the SPS because I'm only losing maybe 3 to 4%, and I just have to press a button here, and I got to get my DEC. And so when we start seeing that happen and we start seeing SPS getting burned, even in small amounts, it's going to be pretty bullish for SPS because people are going to see that we're getting very close to that flywheel going.
I know I'll be clicking the burn a little bit.
And Virus does have a point, and I did mention this. Sorry, Bebeomega, but
it's okay.
There's a chance we might see one more dip, and that's if a lot of people waited to do what I did the other day. I came out of DEC SPS and I dumped all the SPS into DEC because I was only in that pool with money that was meant to be my DEC pool, and I'm glad I did it when I did it. Because when I did it, DEC was cheaper. So I got more DEC out of the deal. But the longer you wait here, the less advantageous it is for you to come out of pools and do that swap. But he does have a point. If a lot of people, when land actually comes out, does that, you might get one more dip in SPS because of just people doing that, just dumping it to buy DEC. But if they're doing that, they're going to be pumping DEC the whole time, and they might get you to peg right there if there's enough big accounts.
Yeah, I was just going to say that Theo seemed to be here for offer advice from Jim. So I mean, Jim, just like your fans, want alpha advice, man. Just like
I mean, if you believe in this game, we are as close as we've ever been. At maybe a very good time to be here because we're entering into an election year in the United States where the normal market is probably going to get pumped because they don't like to, hurt the market in an election year because just free money starts showing up. You can tell that might happen because the last Fed hike, they said no more hikes for the foreseeable future. Now, there's obviously some bad stuff going on kind of out there in the financial world, but then you also have the BlackRock Bitcoin ETF possibly coming out as we're leading into a halving year. Now, most of the time on the way into a halving year, you have a dip in Bitcoin and a dip in the rest of the crypto market. But with the BlackRock news, that can forego that. Because if that actually comes out and passes, that's going to pump Bitcoin. Then we're going to get a halving. There's going to be even less Bitcoin out there. People are going to get reminded that it's hard money. And I imagine we pump even harder. Then once Bitcoin starts to pump, that's when Bitcoin whales come and play games with the smaller tokens, and we start to see them go absolutely crazy. And that's where also we hope that some of that money goes not even necessarily straight into our assets, but imagine if we can get Hive to pump the $3 or $4 or $5 first. And then the guys who are Splinterlands players with big Hive accounts start buying massive amounts of our assets because all of a sudden their massive Hive, bags are huge. And those posts that we're doing in the Splinterlands place aren't getting voted to a few dollars. They're getting voted to $30, $40, $50, even for the small accounts. The big accounts are getting multiple hundreds of dollars on their posts. So it's an ecosystem that can feed from lots of different areas. It's pretty wild. Yeah, birds, bees, and trees. According to Aggie, there's only around 3 billion on the top end of liquid DEC that could be bought before it would all be bought. But you don't know that there's 3 billion under peg, because there are people who bought it as a trade and they're not selling it under peg. It's certainly not down here at 85. They might sell it at 95, or they might sell it at like 98. If they made that trade back when DEC was like 75 and they were just looking to make a 20% gain. But how much is there liquid for you to buy under peg, guys? I don't think there's that much.
Well, but also there's like some of the liquidity probably will hit land anyway. So it's and we know that there won't be. Not everybody is like you, Steve. Not everybody will be going for 100% of their land. I know I won't. So, and I know a lot of people won't actually.
You see,
So,
when you say that people aren't like me, I disagree. They're worse than me
that's what?
because they don't prepare and then they FOMO harder.
True.
There's a reason why I was able to sell some of my beta summoners at massive profits, that I was able to dump some of my land at $800 a plot. It's because I prepare early. They FOMO in. They overpay. They get caught up in the hype. And people like me profit from that because I'm going to make a lot of SPS early in the game. And when it pumps up, I'm going to take some profit. And I don't know what number I'm going to take profit at because I'm pretty bullish on the flywheel. And I don't want to be selling SPS at a dime when I think it can go to easily $5 or $6 in the next bull run. But if it gets to $5 or $6, am I not going to take some money off the table, even if it is going to $20 or $30 because our flywheel is truly broken? No, I'm not gonna watch my Splinterlands assets say you're a millionaire and then go back down to 90,000 again, because that's the way the cycle works. Though in the next cycle, hopefully the floor is higher. That's always what you want, right? So my first time I lived through this, my cards pumped to like 30 grand and came back down to 5. Then they pumped to 1 million and came down to about 100K in assets. This time I'm hoping they pump to multiple millions. And if I were to hold on to them, and the people who end up with them, they'll only fall down to about 500,000.
Yeah, but see, the problem with FOMOing in is you have to have actual assets to FOMO in. And I'm thinking if people were having easily at disposal assets, they would have been bought already their DEC. So I don't know how much of FOMOing will be once land is released. I'm not sure that it will be as much. At least, like, that I'm very bullish about the game. it might come out like a bear. No, I'm just really curious, genuinely curious as to how much of the land will be seeing going live, and how much closer to like it will get us. I don't think we'll get exactly there, but I think it will be pretty damn close. And if hopefully at 1.6 or whatever they call it, the next iteration in a month and a half, if we see the Grand LP out as well, I think that would be probably the tipping point. Just that's how I think. Jim, you've been awfully quiet, man.
Yeah, that's one thing I've learned streaming with Steve. He likes to talk a lot, so I just sit here and look pretty.
you're just a preface.
Well, Jim is somebody who's a bit more on the outside of this. Like it's hard to know what how in you are to like land coming out and how land's going to work and how that ecosystem's going to flourish, and if you believe, like, let's put it this way, how much DEC do you hold today, Jim?
Not a lot.
So when land comes out, are you theoretically planning on picking up 10,000 DEC so you can stake 10 monsters to your land?
Yeah. I'm planning on going to be able to set up the land.
Theoretically, where's that $10 going to come from for you? You think worth of DEC? Is it just SPS? You'll just sell $10 worth, or probably? Okay, so that does counter us a little bit, right? Because
why $10, man?
What?
Just because I'm a noob when it comes to getting money into crypto.
No,
well,
why Steve is saying $10? It's like 100,000 for 2 plots.
No, he has 2 plots.
Yeah, it's 100,000. If he goes max, it's 50,000 per plot.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. You need $100, Jim.
Oh, okay.
If you go max level, I'm sorry. See, I'm under bullishing this game. So
yeah, I was like, because I thought he's earlier as well. I was like, why he's counting them at $5 a max? No,
like, I don't know the exact.
So
number.
here, I'm going to change Jim's mind really quick with this calculator, right? So you need $100 worth of DEC roughly. It's under peg, so it's actually $85 if you do it now. But if you want to sell SPS,
hey, real quick,
before SPS pumps,
real quick,
you're going to have to get.
Did you have to type in that calculator to pull it up, or is it pinned to your toolbar?
I had to type it in.
Oh,
for my computer.
Okay.
I didn't pull it to my. I probably should pin it to my toolbar.
Yeah, you should pin this, dude. It's like the most important thing you can have while playing this game.
Yeah. Okay, so you're gonna have to spend around 4,000 of your SPS, and you're thinking that's not a big deal. Remember, I told you that we're going to $22 a coin, and now you just sold $97,000 worth of SPS to get your land rolling.
22. All right.
You can just sell your land. Put it in.
Let's be honest. If we go to $22, I ain't gonna be mad.
Trust me. You will be. But let's just say, okay, let's say we go to $1, then you're paying $4,000 instead of $100 of outside capital.
But
so that's where the risk reward comes in for you. Should you figure out how to get $100 into the game, into crypto, or should you risk that much of a loss in SPS? Gained.
Steve, if I make $4.4 million off the SPS that I have currently, trust me, I ain't gonna be mad. I'm kind of just set for the rest of my life. Okay.
Yeah, that's $100K, man. You would lose almost $100,000.
I'm set for the rest of my life.
Okay. Remember, the $22 is only if those liquidity pools have outside money break the game. And I'm trying to convince you to put some outside money in, and you won't do it. So you're hurting my argument, Jim.
I'm a noob
for the show.
Okay?
Just say you'll give us $100.
All right, Steve. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna send you $100 to help me get the money into the game. All right.
You can buy ETH from MetaMask with PayPal already, man. It's $100 ETH, and then you can buy DEC with that from the game.
Really? All right.
Yeah. MetaMask added that feature recently where you can buy Ethereum with a credit card directly into MetaMask.
Not credit, but you can buy with either bank account or debit card.
Yeah, bank account or credit card, and then you can go to Uniswap and buy DEC, and then you just got to transfer it into the game. You'd have to pay an ETH fee, but they're down to like, I don't know, a couple bucks nowadays. You have to pay a couple.
I'm always going that route, and it's way cheaper.
Well, I mean on the Uniswap swap, there's going to be a couple bucks in fees.
Well, since you're sending ETH to ETH, the fee is very minuscule. It's like less than $1, I think. Yeah. You're sending them ETH to transact.
See, Alex, Bebeomega is making it not just for the stream, and that was kind of a joke, guys.
What?
I told Jim just to agree with me for the show. Just tell us he would bring outside money in because I was trying to prove that this land would get people to bring outside money in.
Oh,
I was
I'm
trying.
working on
That's also why I was trying to play you could spend $100 of your money now, but you'd be spending 4,000 something SPS if you decided to dump them to get that $100. So should you do that?
yeah, I'm not touching SPS anyways. And thank God for that feature for MetaMask because it's now my go-to. I used to do it through Coinbase. It's a little bit more complicated through Coinbase. Now it's just
Does MetaMask lock it up at all?
no. You just
How
you
are
get
they
it.
doing that?
You get it straight away.
Because the annoying thing with Coinbase is they do that money laundering hold on anything you move in, where it's got to sit there for 3 days, which
Whoa,
is super annoying.
I think it depends on the longer the account is, like the less the restriction is. At some point, I was getting my ETH straight away when I purchased it, but in the beginning, it was taking a week or even more.
Okay, so that's it. That's where they're doing the anti-money laundering rules.
Yeah,
Because the
once you have a
that's what
history,
makes them hold that money, which is super annoying.
well, yeah, but MetaMask is just like, yeah, no, you're straight away getting your ETH, and then you're going to the website, purchase DC with crypto using ETH, connecting your Meta. It's just a breeze, man. And it usually sometimes it's backlogged, like it happened like previous times, like it was backlogged for a couple of hours, but usually it's like 10-15 minutes and you have your dollars in game in form of DC.
Hey, did MetaMask and like the Brave wallet kind of merge to be the same thing?
They have it. Embedded in Brave, but you have the option to disable that and get the add-on instead. And that's what I'm doing because I kind of didn't like the whole integration functionality. Didn't work right for me. So I don't know. I mean, but I think that they embedded it, like integrated it in Brave. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
Alright,
did
well,
you know? Did you guys hear this? We have a question in the chat, and this one more for Bebeomega probably. Are we
What?
getting the ability to unlock our soulbound cards for land in 1.5 or 1.6, or have they said that? I'm guessing not in 1.5.
Oh, I don't. I mean, I haven't heard any delay on that. So I mean, I haven't heard any info being implemented neither. But I'm thinking it's more likely that it's possible than not. I don't know. I don't think it's even for me. It's a it's a far Petrat question. Let's go get him from from the map
So
from the land.
Virus says that at some point Farfetchad has said that it's a top priority after 1.5 to
Oh,
enable
okay.
the unlocking. So it's not necessarily probably a 1.6 thing.
But he
It's
said the same
probably
thing for LPs, for grain LPs, that the top priority after 1.5. I guess about
yeah, I'm kind of surprised they're going live without that, but that's another reason why this is going to shrink up quicker. It's almost like um a thing to help kick off the flywheel even more, because the
Yeah,
only way for us to get additional grain is going to be to buy it from Splinterlands. The other thing that's kind of
true.
bullish for grain on that is it's going to get people to used to paying I think it's $1 for 1,000 grain, right? Or it's
Yeah.
something like that.
I
And
think it was like, yeah, 0.01 DC per grain, I think.
gosh,
It's like
look how
1
thin
DC per
the
100 grain, something like that.
look how thin the sale
Yeah.
wall
How,
is
how
for
much is that total?
DEC. Well, this is like silly. This is 50 hive for a DEC over here. This is like insanely, this doesn't make any sense.
And
Because
that's
that way,
up to what point?
like right here where it takes this huge jump, it gets really, 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 really silly. Because this is at like 0.0002 hive, and then all of a sudden you're at 0.2 hive, which like 0.2 hive for one DEC. I mean, that would be a hive's like 30 cents. So 6 cents for one DEC, that would we'd be at 6 times peg. So like it's only the stuff before it takes this really weird jump, like only to like here. And then it starts getting ridiculously expensive. Unless Hive is worth nothing. The top sell order to mess somebody up who's not paying attention, you're paying 300 Hive per DEC. So watch out for this book,
sweet
guys.
Deal, yeah.
Yeah.
Sweet deal.
Look at this. There's actually somebody selling 1 DEC right now.
Wow.
That's kind of funny. But that might be somebody trying to play with the order book, trying to get somebody to fill this one over here by saying, look, the current ask is only here.
That's pretty known play, yeah.
Yeah.
So a lot of top priorities, it seems, after 1.5.
Yeah, Virus is right. There might be a lot of grain unleashed in 1.6, but that's only if a lot of people are going to farm more grain than they need when they can't sell it.
Which
So
is
that's
doubtful.
interesting.
Which is doubtful because most people will either go for SPS and get enough grain to support their SPS mining, or they just go straight SPS and buy grain. Because I don't think anybody will be farming grain just to keep for whenever the LPs are out. Some people will have planning to do that if they were out at start, but I think now things shifted since they cannot even sell it. They cannot make it profitable until it's actually sellable down the road. So I'm thinking less people will go into SPS into grain production, and more will go into SPS to mine SPS, or have grain just to support the SPS miners of their own. So I don't think there will be a flood of grain to 1.6, but we'll see. I mean, we're just speculating, so who knows? I might be wrong.
Who's selling DEC in large amounts? Anyone? These are all small. Who's the last big seller? These are all hundreds. Yeah, no real big sellers, at least not in the recent times. I don't know, man. It's going to be interesting to see what happens here, but there is not a lot of room over here.
So how much to peg, man? How much liquid DC on the market?
Well, okay, how much? Since this is priced in Hive, it's kind of interesting. So, we're gonna have to play with the calculator again.
Jim told you, very important.
I know. So let's see if I can even do this math. So, what is a Hive? Let's go over to here. So 34 cents. So if you're at 34 cents,
let's call it
Hive,
for ease of use. 3 Hive. 3 Hive will be the peg, just for ease of use.
Three Hive for 1,000, though.
Yeah.
Right? Is what you're saying? Okay, so then
0.003.
3 divided by 1,000 is 0.003. So when are we at 0.003? We're over it there. Right about here. So,
does it say how much Hive is that?
160. Oh, I can't type while I'm doing it, but about call it one. Let's see. That's 4. About 16.1 million Hive. 16.
That's still like more than $5 million.
Times. Does that seem right? Times 0.34. $5,400,000.
Yeah.
Which under peg 1.15 would be 6. Oh no, wait, but add 3 zeros. So like, no, that's too much. That doesn't make any sense. Something must be wrong in this.
Yeah, that's why I was curious. Like, definitely doesn't sound.
Because that would put 6 billion DEC for sale here, and there's no way there's 6 billion DEC for sale here. So there's got to be something else happening. There is a lot of people selling at what at 0.03, but then it goes to 0.1. Am I looking at this wrong?
I think 0.03 or 003.
003. If 3 Hive were equal to $1 is what he did, which is about what it is. 6. Huh. Maybe I just don't know how to read one of these charts right. Anybody in the chat know how to do this properly?
We need an adult.
Well, we need somebody who looks at depth charts more correctly. Because I thought, oh, wait a minute. What just happened?
Uh-oh. It's been updated.
Wah, wah, wah.
The new hour has happened.
Oh, wait. No, some people sold.
Yeah, but it's based on hourly, so the new hour happened.
Yeah, it's big sell happening at the moment.
No, not really. A lot of sells, but none of them were that big. 200 Hive worth. So,
Well,
like... Oh, no,
six-
those ones were kind of big, yeah.
593, 381. Convict.
Convict's the buyer. The seller
Oh.
were these people on this side.
Sororovsky.
Sofrin, Madabath.
Well,
But
I
then
mean,
Solverith
they'll be
bought
right.
was selling here too. So sorry, I was looking at the chat to see if anybody was going to explain the depth chart better than I am doing it. Okay, because like right around here, that is 3 million Hive to get us to 0.26. And 3 million Hive at 3-4 cents is like $1 million to get us to 0.26. But $1 million is a billion DEC.
A billion DEC, yeah.
So that would be $1 billion gone from here. Huh. How much? Where does it show you? That's funny. It changed again. There's actually that many billion DEC for sale here? Doesn't seem right. Oh well, I don't want to get caught up on it too much. I don't know how to read it well enough to do it correctly. We've done a whole 1 hour of the show, guys. What else should we talk about at this point?
Yeah, we almost couldn't stop Jim from talking, man. It's like over and over again. You cannot
Well, you know, even in our other streams we've done in the past, Jim is not always the most talkative guy. But
his stream is very talkative.
His own streams were pretty talkative, yes. But
Yeah.
when we used to be on our ones with Luke, the good old days of hanging out with Luke and things still being worth a decent amount of money, huh? But
I'm just the decent number 2 guy.
So Jim, which part, like what of all these things are you most excited? Like, I guess Soulkeep, you said you dig it. What about goals?
The thing I'm most excited about is $22 SPS. That'd be great.
that's okay. Besides, that we know already.
Up, man.
That we know already.
All right. Aside from being super bullish on it, you know, I've been a big fan of the tower defense for quite some time, and I've been saying that people just aren't ready for that. People aren't ready for land. No one's ready for the stuff that's going to be happening soon, and the sooner and sooner it happens, the more I think people are realizing it.
But do you like the gameplay of the tower defense? Like,
I enjoyed it. Yeah. The only thing I didn't like was being limited by them just being like, these are the only towers you can use. I'm like, yeah, but I like certain towers and I want to be able to utilize them. So it's just like some
What
of
I
the towers
didn't
are
like
cool,
is it's
some
like
towers weren't.
set and forget. It's not like you cannot actively participate in the game and like adjust to the outcome. You just
Uh,
and you hope for the best. It just that's
yeah. I mean, like you can know the order in which monsters come out, and you kind of have an idea of what towers are better than others in the early game versus how many mobs are coming out. Because it's not like you can just put down any tower and you're going to be fine.
no. I'm just saying like you cannot actually like let's say for example Bloons, which is probably one that I've played the most.
Oh,
You actively are building throughout the whole waves. You're not just putting some towers and hoping that everything works fine. You're just actively participating, like upgrading your towers or
oh
adding new
yeah,
ones while the whole wave is going on. And this
yeah,
one is more like you put it in the beginning and then hope for the best.
yep,
Just
yeah.
yeah, that's the aspect I didn't like as much, but I hope more tower defense games dig it than not.
Yeah, I do kind of wish that you could, especially with the traps, right? Be able to actively put
Yeah,
those down rather than
I
just
just
set those up before. That would be nice.
that's my only
But
concern. Yeah.
yeah, make it or
Yeah,
yeah, make it more of a spell than a trap.
yeah. Like I didn't get to play Soulkeep because I didn't get 500 packs, and so I haven't actually played the game. But I understand Bebeomega's worry there because some of the funnest tower defense type games that I've ever played in the past are the ones where you're actively building and like the creeps start to win, and then you build a new tower over here. You might even sell a tower in the back if things are like really desperate to build a new one near the end of the maze. Usually you're going to lose on the next few waves when you have to do that, but it makes it more of an interactive game as opposed to a and though I have noticed in the two or three different crypto tower defense games I've played, most of them have been you build your base, they send
Yeah.
a wave, they build your base, they send a wave, and I think that has to do with it being on chain and have it being giving you rewards.
Well, but
So
the result can be on chain. Still, you can still the game itself should doesn't have to be on chain. Like
yeah,
everything
but
you do inside, it's not really affecting your account in any way. So, I mean, I think they could have. I just think that they wanted to go with something similar to Splinterlands, where you set your team in advance, and then it's an auto battler. But still, I would really like more and appreciate more if it was more interactive and you can actually do stuff while watching the waves unfold. But that's me.
yeah, but our game is going to also have, and this probably isn't something that you experienced on the beta server. Let me know if you did. The whole you've earned this much rewards after you've played the game, and then do you want to risk it to play the next
Yeah,
level? And do you
Yeah,
I
want to
understand.
risk?
That's the funny part. Yeah, that's the fun part. But yeah, I was just
Was
saying
that in beta or no?
no, it
no,
wasn't.
No.
there
So
was no
I
earning
mean
better.
when that's there, I think it'll make it this type of gameplay a little bit better because it's going to be a little bit more like do or die, and it's going to make it so crazy if you know I don't know, you've won 7 or 8 in a row, and then you go, okay, I'll play the next one, and you hit play, and you start seeing those monsters beat your setup, and you can't do anything about it, and you watch it all crumble down. It's going to
And
create some holes in desks,
some
possibly,
rage
and
quitting as
and
well, though.
yeah. That's why I punch my little gel pad mouse here. It does shake my desk, but that's what I punch when I lose a close Splinterlands match every once in a while. And so that's something pretty easy.
You have one of those anime girl mouse pads with the gel in it.
Yeah, mine is
So,
a boring office one, but it's got a pretty big gel pad on the bottom. It's
all
getting
right,
filtered out, but
all right, we'll get you a new one. We'll get you one that has an anime girl artwork on it.
so that you hit a girl. That's what you're going for there,
No,
is the
no, you
plan?
more. It's more of like slapping certain assets.
Oh, I see what you
Yeah,
say. So
you get
go
it.
open handed.
Or if anything, it might stop you from hitting it. If it's a girl, you might like, "Ugh," and then okay, I cannot hit the girl. So yeah.
And then to Alex in the chat, I don't know much about ICP. If
Insane
you're looking
Clown
for
Posse.
no, no, I think it's a crypto project. I don't
Pretty
know
sure
what they do. If they run virtual servers, I think that's something that I'll start to look into and research more once validators are actually more than just this imaginary thing that's going to happen. Because we don't know the kind of server setup. The only time I've ever used a virtualized server service was when during the masternode eras of crypto, and I used a server service called Voltaire or something like that would let you rent a server. But literally, all I had to rent was like a little tiny Linux server to be able to run a masternode on. So it's going to be something similar. Have you guys ever done stuff like that in crypto?
I haven't just. I mean, I have logged in sort of like I learned the Linux part of logging and operating like remotely, but I haven't really hosted anything on servers that was worthwhile. But
Yeah.
just, I think by the time it comes close, the experts, because we have experts in the community for everything, they will just say like, okay, these are the options. This is the best option. This is like the one that is okay, but it costs a little bit more or whatever. Or maybe I'm hosting a server like you can pay cheaper to me and I'll host it for you. Just I'm sure a lot of those things will come out once we are close. So this is also for me in the category crossing that bridge when we get there.
Yeah, and it looks like the Fizz backed me up. It's VULTR, and it's basically like I think I paid them like $2 a month to run a virtual Linux server for me that was up 24/7 in whatever data center they had. And then the way it worked for me at least. They give you the Linux server. You find out from whatever like masternode project, or nowadays it'll be validator project, the server, the amount of RAM, the amount of this that you need. You rent that out from the virtual service providers, and then if they give you a really good deployment guide, all you should really have to do is copy and paste code into the thing, where the only thing you have to replace is your wallet ID or your username in this case for Splinterlands.
Yeah.
And then that uploads everything into the server. Now, if you have a not so good project, you might have to be a little more technical than that. But you do have to get the server, get the passwords, get to the root command level. If this is all brand new to you, Jim, then
Well, they said
you're not
they said
looking like you're paying attention. Then yeah, you'll just watch guys like me when I deploy mine, because I'll probably do a video on it, and then come to guys like me in the community if you need help. But
Yeah,
yeah,
that was the plan.
that's it.
Yeah.
They said that it will be pretty easy to like. It will be just
Well,
uh
they said they would create a Docker.
self-installer.
Yeah,
What?
yeah, a self-installer Docker that's out there on the internet. So
Yeah,
basically, you get into the server, you get on the command line, and you run a command to connect to, download, and then run that software. But
yeah.
there'll have to be somewhere where you connect it to your account so that you get the rewards.
Well,
So
it's probably part of the
they'll have to
installation
be
process, I would think.
like, I'd imagine you'd install the Docker, and then they'll have you run a couple commands. So the first commands will be like
Probably.
get in, set your username and password, do a get command followed by the URL you're going to get, pull it all down, and then you'll have to do a couple more commands that like change it to being attached to me, and to my validator will somehow license that I have on my account. But it should be work. So yeah, Alex is saying that ICP says they'll do $5 for a year of running a server. The thing is, though, guys, we do want to create a decentralized network of SPS validators, so that's not all run to the same service provider. Otherwise, we're not all that decentralized if we're all using the same person to host our software. So
I see nothing wrong here.
But I think at the end of the day, most goes through AWS as well, anyways, like the Amazon server. So I don't
yeah,
know
well,
how.
AWS would be pretty expensive. I think if someone's willing to spend the money for AWS, it should be someone you consider voting for
No,
when they
no,
get
I'm
into
talking
the
about
voting.
these other smaller ones that they offer server space. They probably go.
Oh,
It's
you
like,
think they are just in Amazon Web
yeah,
Services?
just like when you're getting a Metro PCS, but you're not actually getting Metro PCS. You're getting T-Mobile. It's just like uh T-Mobile for poorer people or whatever. It's like everything at the end goes through some network, like.
Yeah, I don't know, because if you're in Amazon's data centers, you're probably going to brag about that. I don't think you're going to hide it, because those are, theoretically higher end data centers, higher end stuff. You're not going to, these guys are probably like, it wouldn't be that hard for me to run a virtual ecosystem, because you can rent space in a data center, throw in a couple servers that
Yeah, you
can
probably
spin
will.
up virtual servers. It's just, I don't have a customer base to sell those to, or any kind of enough fame. Now, maybe Alex is bringing this up. He was going to do it with basically having people pay him to start their server, and then he was going to do it on ICP. So he's outing his own business here for us all to steal. But that's kind of an interesting thing to touch base on, I guess, a little bit, the validator nodes and what's going in there, because the guys out there wanted us
Still
to
a lot
talk
of
about it.
unknowns. Still a lot of
Was there
unknowns.
anything else, Bebeomega, from the town square today that I'm forgetting about? I watched it, but I watched it half in the car and then half at home with my kids bugging me. I
Oh,
know Land coming out soon was basically it, right?
yeah, it wasn't much, and I was waiting for the whole town square for Farpetrat to go to hop it home on, as they teased it might happen in the beginning and never did. So the rest was like Aggie doing Aggie things, hyping up everything, and that was pretty much. Oh, even the questions, like most of the questions were revolving around grain, how grain will work, and whether you can sell grain or whatnot. So it
Yeah,
just.
the one thing I did think was interesting was the how bullish are you on research? And Jim, what are you going to do with your two lands? Have you decided? Farming grain
Uh,
with one, theoretically, right? So it pays for whatever else you want to
mhm,
do. But are you going
yeah,
to mine SPS, or are you going to do research?
yeah.
And what
So
are they?
I think I have a normal and an epic one. Yeah, I have a normal and an epic. Um,
Okay. And is it just epic normal or epic something?
yeah, I think it's just epic normal.
You might
Uh,
end up needing to get. No, no, no. PP doesn't. For food, it doesn't count on the multiplier. So yeah, I think you can still
yeah,
pay. You could pay for an epic with a normal, right? If you
I
stake
should
the
be able
same
to.
level
Mm,
monsters.
not
Yeah, because
necessarily
modifier doesn't take into consideration.
because you're not putting the tax into consideration.
There's no tax if the lands are next to each other.
No, there is
There,
still tax to the castles and the keeps.
Oh yeah, but that's
So
minimal. So,
that brings less than 50% of what you like. You're
but
you're
you.
you're consuming more than 50% from what you're earning. So it won't
He's
be
right. You'll
sustainable.
need like 10% more, or you'll need to stake one less monster onto the epic plot to
I'm
be able to
thinking
have
that probably
one
top
plot.
plot, maybe to be more viable to go for SPS and just buy the grain.
well, doesn't it also depend on like, so if I throw on some totem that gives me 10% onto the one where I have grain, then I should be fine.
Yes.
Actually, yeah, that
Yeah.
might work. Yeah.
Yeah, that
Yeah,
would
so
work if
whatever
you did it
other
that way.
modifiers I can get, yeah,
Yeah, you
should be all
because
right.
if you can modify up the grain that you're earning by enough to cover the tax, then you can have.
Yeah,
But so you have to have same level rarity, same level
it's
monsters, and
it's
same
also dependent
rarities.
upon element as well. Then I can get even more percentage, so I'm fine.
Yeah, you should be able to do it
Yeah,
if you do the right element on your food land and throw like a common totem on there.
yeah.
Absolutely, then you should be
Yeah,
able
we're
to
just
make
talking
enough to earn with your epic. But then
in
if
vacuum
you
if
only if you
everything's
don't
the
get
same.
more, are you going to go long game and do research, or are you going to go maybe kind of also long game and get more SPS, uh,
Yeah, yeah.
hoping that SPS is worth more?
I was thinking about that as well. I'm like, do I kind of just want to like forget about it and just put it into the research and get my percentage when it all, happens, or do I just want to take the overtime, get the SPS, get the SPS? I still haven't decided what I want to do there. Um,
Yeah, because they have told us that the secret repertory will probably take over a year to be solved. And they
yeah,
mentioned something that I wasn't fully aware of, that WoW did something like this before, where there was something that took over a year for people to do in that game. And I need to look into that because I want to see what the payout was for taking part in that or getting that done. And if anybody in the chat knows, I wasn't. By then by the time that happened, I think I was already not playing Web 2 games anymore. Because I
Was
can't
that
think
more
of
recently?
Or
any
again,
WoW thing that took 2 years
oh
to
no,
come
they
to
were talking
life.
about WoW exactly, and I don't know if they were talking about the expansions in general, like how long it takes from one expansion to another, but I think they mentioned WoW, World of
They
Warcraft.
mentioned WoW as having had a mechanic that took multiple years to come to fruition, and that
I think that
the,
was
Ever since?
those are the
the secret
expansions.
could take multiple years. And then the thing that Aggie mentioned to us when he was talking about research too is there might be a point in the game where they release something into land that you can only do if you have X amount of research tokens credited to your account. So there might be like I can't even. I'm just total speculation at this point. I have no ideas, obviously, but like they might introduce something like the ability to go on a raid, or the ability to fight a boss, or the ability to maybe um, reduce. I don't know, do something new within the game. But they're going to be like, but unless you have X amount of research done, you don't have access to do this. And then the
Yeah.
only way you can get access to do that is to then go ahead and go change all of your plots over to research for a couple weeks or months, depending on how much you need to earn to get there. And that they're going to do that a lot. So you don't want to completely sleep on research. And the other thing that was kind of interesting to me, because I'd always planned on being more of a research driven person, I was going to do SPS in the beginning because the payouts might be amazing. But
Likewise.
Aggie said Matt is going research, and Matt is the driver of the Secret of Pretoria, and he wants to be one of the leaders and the guys who gets the most from the Secret of Pretoria.
So
This is
why
so
aren't we
hard.
following him?
Yeah,
so
usually
why?
it's hard to
Yeah,
do what Matt do.
that's why I'm following Matt. And the other reason
Well,
why is because if this all goes pretty well for us, my SPS bag is pretty big, at like 400 and the other thing is I have that EMP project where I have a lot of SPS kind of locked up in there, in that ecosystem where if that thing goes crazy, I'll get a good payout from there as well. So I have two pretty big bags of SPS, which is why long term I might want to go more research. It's only stupid Soulkeep that's making me want more SPS right now. And I know Bebeomega's loving it, but I'm like, I'm hating that I need it. But I'm like, I have those stupid packs. I don't want to dump them all. I want to play the game. So now I have to get like 100K SPS for that game. And it's making me mad. And I went out and
You
bought
gotta do what you gotta
30,000
do,
the
man.
other
You
day.
gotta do what you
I
gotta
should
do.
buy some more of those packs, man. I
And
should get
yeah,
back
it's
to buying.
interesting because it looks like those cards are going to get turned over to being alpha cards, because the pack sale didn't sell out. It went bad. I don't know if you caught this in the last couple months, but they ended the sale.
Yeah.
They know that when the game goes live, they're going to need to have packs for sale. But and this is probably a little bit of back and forth with the guys who made the game. But it sounds like what Splinterlands would like to do is have it be where the new cards are the same where the packs that they're selling are going to have the same towers in them, similar to Alpha and Beta in Splinterlands.
Yeah.
But we're going to be the unique people with the alpha packs in the entire game. So
Okay.
it's an interesting play to get your hands on a decent amount of those. The things that I'm super annoyed about, they haven't actually given us the post on how many towers there are going to be in the game and how many towers you need to have a max level tower. Like, I know theoretically to be a max level earner, I need 1 million SPS. I don't know how many packs I need. So it's hard to see anybody making that kind of commitment to any
I thought they
level
did
of
tell
staked
us how
SPS.
many towers and spells were going to be in the game.
They told us how many would be in the game, but I mean, how many copies do I need to have a max level?
I got you.
What I don't think I've ever actually seen a list of here are the 14 towers that are going to be in the game and what they do. Here's what the
They're
4
going to be
spells that are going to be in
rarity,
the game and what
autos.
they're going to do. And champions haven't been talked about at all anymore. They've been
Yeah, the
completely
heroes.
forgotten as far as I know, right?
Well,
Seems like it.
a lot of interesting things coming up.
And only how many packs were sold total? Less than 400,000?
Yeah, it was low. It was low.
Well,
and
now
they
I'm
had
happy about my 100 packs that I bought.
Yeah, not very many people bought 500 packs. That's why
No,
they
100. Just put 100.
that I think that's why they reevaluated like a lot of things. And Tails is reminding us that Matt, unlike us, probably most of you already has a lot of SPS. I, unlike a lot of you, already have a lot of SPS. Jim has quite a bit more than he needs for playing Splinterlands because he doesn't. He's just stacking SPS. So
I've just been renting it.
our following him into doing research is a little bit of knowing that Matt and me share a lot of the same interests, and I think he's going to give us something very cool as a reward for having a lot of research points, even if it's not super monetarily advantageous. And
Yeah.
obviously, if SPS can go up to $22 per coin, you should be farming and getting as much SPS as you can. And again, that number is a pie in the sky. Oh my God, how did that happen? It's because the DeFi people broke our game. They literally made it unplayable for, nobody ever again will join the game because you need millions of dollars of SPS stake to play the game.
I,
And
unlike most players that don't have enough SPS, will be doing all my magic plots in research. So, as tempting as SPS is, yeah, I also have big expectations. I love the part that nobody knows what it is because that means that a lot of people will be just ignoring it. And I love that fact. But yeah, I'm planning to. I mean, it was sad that you mentioned what Matt was planning to do because now many people may be changing their mind. But yeah, I was planning to invest quite a lot, not quite a lot of my land power or resources into research of Pretoria.
yeah, for sure. Like my day one plan, it like for sure is go to go to my keeps and castles and get them reasonably stocked, but not with my highest stuff.
Maxed out.
Because that, but put a Rooney on each one, put 5 decent level monsters in them, then go to my 2 legendaries, put very good things on those, but they're regular legendaries, so they're just gonna make grain and they're gonna make a lot of grain. That'll help me play for a lot of my other plots. And then my epics, I have a couple epic magics, so they'll be the next ones to get my Roonies. Actually, I'll have to decide either one of my legendaries or one of my epics don't get a Rooney. I have to decide if I want to do. I'll probably put it towards grain though, because it makes the most sense to just make as much grain as I can on my 2 legendaries, and then I'm gonna go straight down the line on all my magical plots and max those out first. Then to my occupied, I do have 6, and some of them are rare, but they're gonna be second priority behind magical for me. And then all of my other land is going to be a mixture of SPS and grain in the beginning, as much as I can deploy with the resources I have, until I see SPS returns start to go close to what they were, like only about 2 to 3x what they were, because I'm expecting a 5 to 6x day one. And hey, after sound, good to see you. I once it's down to maybe like a 2x, I'll start to move over all the non SPS lands into research, because I want to be a bigger research player within the ecosystem. Maybe not all of them, but it'll be more than the lands that could be doing anything, doing other stuff.
Bo, like Tails is asking, did you check how long it would take?
Well, Tails, I'm confused, and maybe you figured this out, because somebody said something the other day, and I never figured this out. I bought a building in a box for all of my land, all 200. Does that mean that I don't have to clear the land, or I do have to clear the land? Because I've heard conflicting things, and maybe you know for sure. Do you know?
No, I also heard conflicting things. I was the one that told you that.
Yeah, you're the one that confused me.
Harpetrat said that they decided to combine the clearing and the building, the first building into one, but I don't know if how that corresponds with building in a box, but it was just speculation as I don't know. I just know what I saw him like. Sometimes he speaks very cryptic, he's saying stuff, and you're not quite sure what exactly he means, and maybe he's not supposed to be being
Yeah,
that
because
open, but
see, Tails, Bebeomega has tricked me
usually that's what I do.
because he made it seem like building in a box and was gonna that Parpatraz said it was being combined into the land clearing, and that you
Not the building
would
in
do
the
it.
first
And I
building. That's what he was saying.
no
Like,
no no see, Tails, I don't think building in a box does nothing for land clearing in 1.5. Stock Jockey says he thought building in a box was clearing bonus. Did he miss something? Building in a box isn't for the buildings. Building in a box does not affect land clearing. What Farp was saying was that clearing and setting up the worksite is done at the same time. The worksite choosing what you are farming.
but it's still confusing.
Okay.
But I will see.
Okay, so Bebeomega, now that it's been explained properly by somebody, it looks like what it's going to do, you still have to clear the land, but when you clear the land, a normal player will have to start a new timer that says build X building. A building in the box player will just click on I want this building, and it'll immediately be done or start to build. Let me see if I can.
But I thought they said
find.
there are no buildings in 1.5.
Yeah. Oh, the worksite is not a building. Yes, building in the box gives you a power core too. And since I have a power core on all of my land, when I stake my Rooney, he also becomes a worker.
Yeah, but still, if there are no buildings, how are you having your first building for free? Or maybe now you're just getting the power core and on when 2.2.
Okay, so there are no buildings in 1.5
Yeah,
virus. So basically, you're saying that I get the power core benefit in 1.0 and the actual building in 2.0?
yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Okay. So then, no, I haven't quite figured out. If I have to clear land, I do have some time crystals. There isn't going to be anywhere for me to sell them in the beginning.
You can,
So,
you can sell them whenever you want them, and they're transferable, so you can sell them anywhere you want.
well, only P2P, right? Though there's not a
Yeah.
market.
Well, I mean, I think it's very easy to set up a pair on Hive. I don't know, just if you can transfer the
Well,
asset.
if there's a market for time crystals,
I
then
haven't
I
even
will
tried
sell
using it.
them, but I don't want to try to arrange a P2P trade. I don't trust Jim. He's not going to send me stuff after I send him my time crystals.
Then do it with somebody that will.
You know, you've sent me like $4,000 before, right?
Yeah, I know. I'm just messing with you. But yeah, 1.5, I guess the one big surprise is there will be no grain selling. So there will be nobody playing the game to sell grain. Everybody will just be playing the game, the grain game, to feed their own people, unless they're thinking really long term and they want to stack up a bunch of grain to sell once it becomes sellable. But I actually think this hurts the entire grain selling game, because most of us are going to have to, in the beginning, set up our land to feed ourselves, to not have to be able to be buying a ton of grain off Splinterlands at what is going to be a pretty high price, much more higher than most of us expected to buy it off of each other. So once you're self-sufficient and your land is there, then once that marketplace is actually in place, there you'd have to decide consciously to be like, okay, I want to take 5 or 6 of my plots and turn them into not making grain so that I can go buy grain off the marketplace to create demand for it. And I don't think many people are likely to do that. So that is one pretty big thing, and it does hurt one part of the economy, in my opinion, because if anybody was going to whale out and go crazy and buy a lot of grain in the beginning to get way ahead. I feel like it would have been somebody who did it way in the beginning to get way ahead. If it's not for months into the game and the whales have already worked their way ahead without needing to do that, I don't know who would be the big buyer of grain once it can be bought.
Well, I mean, depends how profitable is the race, because yeah, you're still talking in a 1.5 vacuum, which won't be forever. And then once people have to choose between 50 resources, it will be and then they have to choose for plots that will be just purely for storage. It will be kind of hard to focus that much on grain. Now it's okay. Now it's just one of the three options. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's probably there'll be people doing grain a lot, but once you have to choose through around 50 resources and you have only 100 plots, then they'll be like, oh, okay, I'll put so many people in farming grain, but grain is so cheap and I can instead just buy it. So maybe I just use that land plot for something that is more valuable. And then that things will balance itself out. When there is less supply, if demand goes high, the price will go high, then the supply will go back in because people will be switching all the time, whatever is most profitable. So I don't know, but it will be interesting to see the whole market thing developing and regulating itself. And I'm not sure that grain will be that worthless in the future because, as I said,
Yeah, well, it will never be worthless, right? Because if it's selling cheap enough, somebody will do the math and figure out that if I can switch my thing to farming SPS, it's going to earn this much SPS, and then I buy the grain for them at this price. I made a profit. It's an arbitrage market right inside of land. There's going to be a floor, and based on the price of SPS and how much SPS you can farm on a plot, right? So it'll always
again,
be worth something.
It's not only the SPS. I told you, like, you need a lot of resources. So
Yeah, but I mean,
prioritize how much you want to spend into a non-resource production, because it will be in land 2.0. It will be one of the few non-resource productions, because you're not producing something that you need for items and spells. You're just producing food to sustain your land working. And then it will be a point: do I want to waste a whole land plot to get something when I can buy it so cheap off the market? And then I guess it will end up not so cheap at the end.
yeah, and to yellow, not everyone can just farm SPS because some of us want to start on research. There's titles to earn, there's gating in the future. We want to be ahead in that. But for the research thing, even if the actual payout is 1 or 2 years ahead from like the big payout, there'll be small payouts. Because what if we've learned there's going to be like 50 resources in this game, right? And so what if you can't smelt iron unless you've done 1,000,000 research points? Well, then I'm going to be one of the few people that can smelt iron, and I'm going to be selling it to you who decided not to learn anything for a very, very high price. Not you, but him. No, I'm just joking, because he said he's only mining SPS, or maybe Jim. But if Jim's only got 2 lands, I don't know how far he's going to be looking to develop his lands.
I'm sure he would turn them into warehouse, and he'll be just selling people's storage space.
Yeah, because the basic way this would go, if you want to be just an SPS farmer in land 1.5, you need 2 plots like Jim, and you need to farm slightly more grain on one than the other, so that you can pay it off, and then maybe if it's easy to move it around, he could bounce his totem over to the SPS one when his excess grain gets to a certain level until they eat all of that up, and then he bounces it back to the other one. And that's probably the most efficient way to make the most amount of SPS out of this game with the least amount of effort as well. Just occasionally going, wow, I have a lot more grain than I thought I should, and going ahead and turning up the ratchet on how much you're earning on your SPS farm, because you can eat up some of that extra grain that you earned. But that's how it's going to be for everybody at scale. If you have 10, you have 5 earning food, 5 doing others, and the ones earning food need to do a little bit more earning than the ones not doing food. This is why I said for me, my 2 legendary plots are going to get food, because those are my highest earning potential. With a Rooney on them and epic totems, they are going to be my highest bonus things, and with probably alpha monsters for their level, because I do have some alpha monsters. And so that's kind of going to be my play there, or at least betas, because I have alphas and betas to put, and they're going to have a pretty high PP, and they're going to farm a lot of food, hopefully enough to pay. Yeah, well, I was trying not to do the dirty joke, but you went for it. and then the people who have keeps, though, they can, the math on that is hard, because especially for the funny thing about keeps is that unless you sell a bunch of your land, you're basically just trying to earn
taxing
back.
yourself.
You're basically taxing yourself,
exactly,
and losing some of that tax at the same time. It's kind of a funny system. I'm a very bad tax man, because I take 10% from you, but I only get 3% for myself. That 7% just disappears into the nether of the game. Unless I get unless I have a huge PP.
I don't know about that.
Then I can keep all 10% that I tax myself.
I'm no expert how big your PP is.
Ask his wife. What?
We can. Well, I'm still married, so it's at least big enough. But now that we've went down the
on that
PP
note,
jokes very
Jim,
far.
I've always wanted to ask you a very important question. How do you feel as a hybrid between Jim Beam and Captain Morgan?
It feels pretty good, Bob.
Yeah. I've always like that. That's an amazing combination, I would think.
Land.
Yeah. I'm more of a Jack Daniels type of guy, but you know.
Oh no, wait! I don't want
Jim Beam and Captain Morgan drinking the Jack Daniels.
But I do have
for
to
the
get out of here, guys. I have work in a couple hours, and I'd like to get a little bit more rest.
Okay, I will appreciate.
Okay, Jim. Well, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We're probably only going to go for about another 20 minutes, guys. But we're going to take a look at how big of a PP you need to have a keep in a castle really quick.
And you want to miss that, Jim? I wouldn't miss it for the world.
Oh, trust me, I already did that math. I'm set. Okay, we're good.
We believe you.
All right, I'll see you guys. Take care.
I need to find, and if someone wants to link it, I need the SPS white paper for land.
Oh, you just type what that would look like. Yeah. Just like
it's probably this.
Yeah.
Is it a Git book?
Gitbox, yeah.
Yes. Okay. Where are keeps and castles in here? Taxes, castles and keeps.
Oh, okay.
Here we are. So, let's get down to the thing. So if you have a castle, you can take up to 20% of the tax back, which is only 2% of the 10% that is taken, right? If I'm remembering this right. And if you wanted to somehow have close to the actual 2%, you have to have over 250,000 PP, which is pretty high, because you're talking 50,000 per card you'd need to average. If you have a gold Rooney, then you could go a little bit less. So that's going to be pretty unreasonable. And then if you have a keep, it's a little bit more forgiving, because if you get that high, you get 50% of how much that you.
But just from your track.
But just from your tract. So you can pull back 5% of the 10% that's taxed from your tract to yourself if you can get up to this kind of crazy level of 250,000. And the justification here is, like you said, this is 50% of 100 plots. This is 20% of 1,000 plots, which is still better than 50% of 100. But that's the highest you can get, and it's only if you were, this goes on to infinity, so you can't really get there. I'm looking at being right around here in my keep, I think about 70,000 with a Rooney.
Pretty good.
Yeah, so it's going to be pretty good, but that's only if I decide to put my best monsters in the keep. Now, here's a question for our smart chat who's here. Um, do you put your best things in your keep if you have one? Or is it better to put them on your legendary plot? Because your legendary plot, you're going to get to keep 90% of what they earn, or you put them over here so that you can pull back 5% of, maybe 4.5% of that 10% that's taken away from your now monsters who are earning less. And this is something I haven't spent a lot of time thinking about, but it's an interesting question. Because do I put that 70,000 on a legendary plot, or do I put that 70,000 into a keep?
See, like in my track, there is this guy that doesn't plan on using most of his land plots. So I'm just like, well, then why would I need? See, the only reason I would need to put stuff on my keep is for the chance of finding fragments. That would be my only motivation, because as I said, I'm not planning to utilize much of my land from start. So I'll be taxing a pretty inactive tract, which makes no sense, at least in the beginning. And of course, down the line, when surfing is out and whatnot, sure, I can focus more on my keep. But from start, the only reason I'll be putting anything in the keep is just to be having this chance of getting totem fragments. But that's me.
Yeah, and see, I'm kind of where Virus is at. He says it's better for the legendary plot. You don't even need, because you don't get as much of a gain of a percentage once you get up here in these
Yeah.
levels. So I think what I might end up actually doing, because I haven't thought hard enough about this, but it's time to make those decisions. Where do my 5 Roonies go, guys? Do they go on my 2 keeps, my 2 legendaries, and my? There's only one magic epic,
I would say on your occupied land.
or do I put it on my 2 legendary lands, my magical epic, and my 2 occupied rares instead of my 2 keeps? And I'm leaning towards my 2 occupied rares.
Yeah, especially in the beginning, that's the play, man. I mean, everybody knows that the first few days will be the most SPS you can get from land ever. So you should not utilize that. I mean, just with
Yeah, I'm
buying
thinking.
all these bonuses that you bought when revealing land, you have the comfort of having enough grain to sustain you for a while. So the main, at least for me, main is like firing off the occupied lands, claiming as much as possible every hour for the first couple of days, a week maybe. And once things start to normalize, then I can start thinking about farming grain and activating my magic plots, which all will go into research and stuff like that. But the first few days, especially, it will be like a fight to get the most, to extract the most SPS out of the pool.
Yeah, that's definitely probably the right play. And I think even long term, that if I put something, if I can put together maybe 40,000 points between 5 monsters, which I think I can do with some of my betas because of the bonus, and throw those into here, then especially my beta neutrals, because they don't need to go anywhere in particular. I got a couple decent beta card neutrals, even legendaries, because I have like some Lord A's that are maxed out, and some other stuff, and so I can put those in here, and in my keeps, and then keep the Roonies and stuff going. The real question is, do I put a Rooney on the epic magical to start, or do I actually put it on like a normal occupied? Because I think I have 4 normal occupieds and 2 rare occupieds.
Whoa, it should be
So
in the rare. I mean,
yeah, the
for
2
sure.
rares. I think the 2 rares for sure. But I actually think that I would go for the epic magical, getting a Rooney before an occupied common.
I would say again, like in the first couple of weeks at least, everything focusing on because see the Rooney doubles your uh, double bonus production.
Yeah,
If you're going,
I actually think that it makes sense. Like Virus is saying, I should probably throw them all unoccupied,
yeah,
like all
that's what I'm
five of
saying.
them. But I think it makes more sense to turn a powerhouse, to the two legendaries into just grain powerhouses that are going to feed like my entire empire
But
in the
Steve, you
beginning.
have the whole few months between now and Land 2.0 to do that. You do have the grain to sustain your first week of farming just SPS. You can always move your runes later. You lose what 3 days, whatever it is. But you don't get back the first week of mining SPS ever. So you have enough time to catch up with grain. You have time to catch up with research, but what you get as SPS in the first few weeks, that'll be the most you get anyways. But
Yeah,
it's, I
but
mean,
I have enough monsters to deploy monsters onto other lands, so I'll be able to make those other lands besides my occupieds earning SPS. And sure, they don't get the 100% bonus that you get for those few occupied plots,
yeah, but why
but
wouldn't you utilize the bonus? You know, the only difference in land rarity is between common and legendary, because the other percent difference is not that big, like 10 and 25%. So it's like you're losing on the 100% bonus on a common plot for SPS, which doubles with Rooney, just to get it on a legendaries would make sense, but if you're only putting it into SPS, you're putting into grain. Yeah, you'll be doing a lot of grain, but you're missing on a good opportunity to start with, and that's my opinion. You don't have to do
so,
anything.
well, see, that's where I'd have to play the math a little bit, because if my legendary land with a Rooney on it can feed, they would only have to feed two common lands at 100% SPS to match an occupied. Because I have enough monsters to deploy more land than most people.
But
So
the point is
I
not sustain like sustainability is not the point in the first week. Yeah,
so
that's
you
what I
don't
mean.
think I should in the beginning try to build towards sustainability? I should just burn
No,
through. Let me
first two
see.
weeks are just
How
whatever
much
you
grain
can.
do I have?
You should have a lot. If you got every bonus that you got, you should have like,
I didn't get time crystals on everything.
oh, okay. Well,
So I have a 1.6 million grain.
oh, okay. Well, then yeah, you just get half of it. That because on one track, that's pretty much about how much I get. So you get
Yeah,
half of your.
I did building in a box on everything, and I did time crystals on half.
Yeah,
And
well,
then
but still,
I did unstable totems on none because I have these totems.
that grain should get you through several days, I would think, of SPS mining, and if it comes to worse, you can always like just sacrifice 3 days to get to like, and you have other plots. But what I'm saying is your most earning plots that you can put into SPS mining, you probably should. Not a financial advice, of course, but because you won't be getting that opportunity down the road at all. You can always catch up with grain and with research, but once the SPS opportunity is gone, it's mostly gone forever because the more people start activating SPS mining, the less SPS you'll be getting.
Yeah, yeah. Like I kind of understand what you're saying, but I think that like Virus is saying he's doing what you said you're going to do, and I think a lot of people are going to do what you're saying you're going to do.
Also, you
So
want to be Zach.
I don't think the SPS earning is going to be like like how many lines do you have again? You have 100, one track, two tracks. I
Yeah, I
forgot.
want to.
One track, right?
I
So
had some spare that I gave to Bozena, but one
and
track.
okay, so and how much of your one track do you think you can deploy?
Not much, like probably 15 maximum percent. And not even in the beginning. In the beginning, I'm focusing on my occupied land. because I have enough grain to sustain it for a while, and because I'm thinking that those
So
benefits,
see,
like those will be worth it.
the reason why you think your your plan is so like makes so much sense in your mind to me is because you only plan to deploy about 15% of your land. I plan on day one to deploy somewhere between 50 and 70% of my land because I am going to buy a few $1,000s worth of additional DEC if they tell me that this game is coming out on the 22nd. Because I'm just going to do that because I have enough monsters to do it. So because I'm deploying
That doesn't change the
around
money.
120 lands, I could try to really, really gang rush SPS like you're saying, but I'd burn through that grain relatively quickly if I do that. Whereas if I do what I'm planning to do, I think that it's better to create my grain powerhouse in my two legendaries with my Roonies because it's going to create those things making a lot of grain. And that's going to help me pay for me deploying that much of my tract. And like I said, for you to put a Rooney on an occupied and get 100% bonus on a common occupied, that's getting another 100% bonus. That's basically equal to 3 regular plots earning SPS.
With the same 5 cards though.
Yeah, but
With 5 cards.
with 5 cards each. But I have the cards to do that
Okay, and
across those lands.
I understand, but still, gives you 2 more free plots to do whatever you want. And my point was, if you're going to deploy, unless you're planning to deploy like all 200 lamps, then for me it would make sense. The ones that give you the most boost will be used first, whatever days for SPS, so you can actually take benefit from it. And yeah, I understand that you cannot, since you don't have that much grain because you didn't get that many uh, bonuses.
I just feel like the way that I was planning to do it, I would end up with actually more power than doing it the other way around. Like I think I'll be very easily able to replicate the Rooney earning potential by just using because if I stake it to a common plot, it's only 20%, 100% bonus on a land that gets no other bonus, right?
Oh, it gets, yeah, okay, but
Other than the 100%
100,
it gets for SPS.
yeah,
So
exactly.
it's a total of basically the Rooney will make it earn triple. And I guess if I was really doing this, I have 3 epic totems. I don't have any legendaries unfortunately, and then I have some rares.
Yeah,
So I
totem
could,
turns
but
common into
these
rare.
are gonna go into probably the rare occupieds that are gonna have a Rooney, and one of them will go on probably one of the legendaries in the beginning. Then later on, when SPS has been caught up, I'd probably move the epic totem over to the
That's what I'm
legendary.
saying. You can always
But
move around at a later date, but I mean, I just think that the opportunity is there in the first week or so, just focusing on SPS as much as possible. And I mean, that's at least
but
what I'm
like
my
I
thinking.
feel like doing what you're saying, I'll have less actual PP going towards SPS in my case because
Well, I mean, okay, but it might be. I mean, you're doing your math that you should know better, but I just feel that's what makes sense. My other interesting thing, what I was thinking is, since they said that the whole harvesting process is actually up to once a week,
and
and that's exactly the time when you press harvest. That's the time they check how much GC you have staked and how much grain you have. So
yeah,
my
but the other reason why I feel this way, and like, and Alex is pointing out, he kind of agrees with me that it's better to become self sustainable early, and let your things start going, like have your food productions worked out, and be self sustainable, is because then you can then there's only a 1 day cooldown between switching over a plot from SPS to research and back and forth as things are going.
Same is from SPS to grain.
Well, yeah, but if I figured out how much food I need to make to support my land, then I don't ever have to play the game of selling anything I'm earning, because I don't want to sell the stuff I earn. Because even if I go the other way around, I can only do that for a few days until I burn through this 1.6 million. And sure, I might do it for a couple days. Maybe it makes sense to go ahead and eat 1 million of this before I start, making any grain. But as soon as this is gone, I don't think being.
Don't forget you cannot clear all your land on day one.
Well, yeah, I know, but I should be able to clear some of it, because if I
Yes,
don't have
some
a
of it,
market
yeah.
to sell these, I'll just go ahead and use them.
But yeah, that's also like how much time you spend, like which are the plots you want to straight away start earning on, and which are the plots you need to spend 3, 4, 5 days to clear.
I was going to ask Tails, but I don't know if he's still here. Does anybody know where's the land clearing tool? I know there is one, but I forget who has it.
Oh, there is?
You,
I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure there's a tool to show you how long it would take to clear a land with a certain amount of PP. Let's see if anybody knows. I don't know. I'll have to find it.
But yeah, you have to take that decision as well, because obviously you cannot clear them all and in the first day. All that you want, like you said, you want it deploy like 120, 130, 150. How much you said? 180 maybe. And it will take time clearing those, and you want to decide which plots you're okay with waiting for clearing, as opposed to earning SPS straight away.
Is it this one? Is it Peak?
Theo says he has a spreadsheet.
Oh yeah, Peak Monsters. That's what it is.
Well, I don't know if they have about the clearing. They have a tool that can tell you how much.
Oh, just clearing pots page inside the white paper gives you at least the math so you could do it yourself.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, clearing plots. So a common plot that's natural is 1.5 million PP to clear. And so you'd get X amount of PP a day, right? Based on your workers that are staked on there?
Yeah.
So let's do simple things, right? So dooby-doo. Let's shrink that down a little. So 1.5 million. If you could do 50,000 PP on the land, it would take you a month for a natural common.
You wait. No, you're getting the PP per hour, not per day.
Oh, you're right. Okay, so if you had 50,000,
the same mistake, yeah.
So if times 24. Oops, I meant to hit equal.
So it's a day and 8 hours, but I mean
yeah. So a day and 8 hours here. So 50,000 would give you 1.2.
Day and 6 hours.
A day and 6 hours. And yeah, how long is a time crystal again? Is one time crystal an hour or what?
No, you can use you can clear the whole land in
no, I know you can, but I mean, how much credit is one time crystal?
Oh, it should say here in the white paper exactly the number. I think it was 150.
Let's go here.
One, 150 crystals to clear a common rare, normal common.
So it takes 10k PP per thing.
For a crystal, yeah.
Yeah. So
you can clear a normal common for 150 time crystal.
Okay, so I have my legendaries are just naturals, so it's 3 million because I didn't get any cool
That will
legendaries,
be 300
unfortunately.
time crystals.
So yeah, so I can clear both of these. I do have occupied rares, which are 9 million. Those are probably so
But
that's
there
a
is more like 10 million.
so this is like almost 10,000 time crystals then.
Yeah.
So I only have
No, it's a thousand.
16,000.
It's 1,000 crystals
Oh, 1,000 crystals.
because 150 is for 1.5 million. So 99
1,000
990
times
990 time crystals you need for.
10,000 is 10 million. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. So I'll probably use my time crystals to pop two of these because I have two of these. I'll use my time crystals to pop my two legendaries. I have one magic epic. I'll probably pop that because I want to start research early day one with my magic epic at least, and then I'll I don't know. I don't know if I'm gonna see. I'm just I'm so torn because part of me, the reason I did half time crystals in grain is because I actually was gonna slow roll this a little bit when I originally had my plan, um, and just clear my plots with a group of alpha cards as clearers, right? Because I could put together a team. They would be 5 alpha cards
Yeah,
that were
but
max
there is
level.
3 days between plot that you need to be on cooldown.
I know. It was gonna be the long game. I mean, I wouldn't probably have a couple different teams, but I'd have one like team that was gonna work on the good plots, right? For the most part, and clear them quicker, and then I'd throw some random monsters on some of the other ones and clear them however long it took them to clear. But the the time but that was if I could sell the time crystals for a lot of money to then be more prepared for land if people were paying a lot for them in the beginning because they wanted to hop ahead. So it helped me.
They'll be able to buy it from the store, so they cannot pay you more than that.
Yeah, I know, but what's the price at the store?
It's the same as like
Let me see. So
one
it's
crystal 100 DC.
100 DEC. So in theory, time. So I should really pin my calculator. How do I do that? Do I just right click on this and can I pin it?
No, right click down on your yeah, right click there and then pin to
There.
yeah.
Okay, so 16,500. If I could get 90 DEC each, be 1.4 million. That would be a 10% discount compared to the store. Like if I could get 1.4 million DEC, I'd probably take it for the time crystals and just play the game slowly. Or I'd at least sell, I'd clear the legendary plots and the rare occupieds and I'd sell the like 8,000 that I had left. If I could get something around probably 80 to 90 DEC per crystal. But I don't know if you'll be able to get that. Maybe you will because people would be willing to pay you that much for them. Anybody out there willing to buy time crystals for say 80 DEC a crystal? I wonder if there's anybody out there who would be willing to pay that much because they're planning to go that hard.
Well, I mean, I'm sure there will be takers at that price.
Well, yeah, I don't
I
know if
mean,
we have
clearing
any,
will
any
be
big whales.
something that will be very important in the beginning, and I think people are grossly underestimating it. I think you are grossly underestimating it too, because
Well,
you're
I
putting
don't
fifty
know. I
thousand,
mean, because like the
you're
the the
putting
SP.
50,000 PP per hour. You're putting as something that is like easily achievable all over the place, but it just you can have it on several plots, but pretty much I'm sure not all your plots will have 50,000 PP per hour, and it will take quite a while to clear those. And if you're missing, as I said, the early advantage opportunity, then it just
Well, does clearing get bonuses too?
you mean on the runes and titles and everything.
Well, like Rooney's titles,
Your PP is your
totems.
PP. Yeah, your PP is PP. Like whatever you get PP as normal, whatever bonuses you get, you still get them for clearing. But again, don't
Yeah, see,
forget
like
we're talking about
I
hundreds of
can,
cards.
I have lots of cards that are over 5,000 PP per card, and then with bonuses and totems that I have, I should be able to get close to 50,000 on quite a few. And then obviously I have if I put these top 5 on somewhere, that's over 50,000 just these 5 cards.
Okay, but that's the one that will take a day and something. But
And
then
then
if you want to move them
and
over
I can
somewhere
do
else,
that for, yeah, like I can do that for a couple. That's why I said like these guys might just be land clearers in the beginning.
but I mean, you're aware that
Some
they
of them.
can clear 3, 4 plots at the same time and they have to wait for 3 days.
No, yeah, I am. I understand. That's why I said it was going to be a long.
Yeah,
A
but
long.
that's what I was my whole idea, my whole point was in the beginning you don't have time for a loan. If you want to take advantage of the SPS mining, you don't have time to waste at all, like at all. So
Oh, Virus says there's only the terrain bonus for clearing. That's interesting. That does make the crystals a little bit more valuable. Interesting. I'll have to see. He said he bought some for around that price, so he would have took me up on some of mine, but he only bought 1,500, so maybe that was just enough. Virus, I don't know how much land do you have. Do you have a lot?
he has
I don't know
12
if I've
plots,
ever asked you.
12 or 12. He was in after sound stream, was
Oh,
pretty
okay.
awesome stream. And by the way, Virus is one of the most prepared people for land. So if you have any doubts about land, he's the guy to tell you. I mean, he got a whole spreadsheet worked out and everything. So yeah.
Yeah, I need to get a little bit more prepared, and also I have been starting to sell some of my lower cards that are down in like this area to try and get them to higher level. Because I have a lot of this stuff that's like level 6 from my alt accounts I used to play. So I have like 3 level 6 fire imps here that are like 2,100. And I'm wondering, like, should I try to maybe make this one level 8? And I'm playing with some ideas. I have to figure it out because I have all this stuff down here. But like the older cards are just so much better. Because look, these are max level Jared Scars that are 1,500. And these level 6 fire imps and stuff have way more than a max level. Like
Yeah.
all this stuff in here. These level like 7s that I have that have like 2,000. These guys that have 2,000. So it's an interesting problem to have with this whole PP
That's
game.
what I was saying. Yeah.
But um, I have a bunch of like single copy cards of these old cards, and I'm starting to try to sell those. Like I sold some recently. I just been playing. Oh look, somebody bought some of them today. So I got another 15,000 DEC because see, I'm selling some of my single copy. I think this one was mine, just this one card.
See, I
This
want.
is the only thing I don't like about this. I did not sell all of this, guys. I
Yeah.
sold
Well.
one of these cards.
Yeah. Yeah. I know
So
how deceiving it can be.
yeah,
But
it can.
but
And
I want to briefly talk about a potential. I wouldn't exactly call it a exploit, but maybe opportunity, like what I started earlier. You only get checked how much GC you have staked and how much grain you have upon claiming harvest, which you can do potentially once a week or like for 7 days. You don't have to do it. So I was thinking, would it be possible to have all your DEC paired with SPS in a liquidity pool for a week, pull it out, go harvest, take it out, go back into the liquidity pool, and this way double dipping from your DEC? Do you think that might be a possible exploit the way they did it?
how quickly can you unstake from land?
Straight away. It's a straight on. No, well, I mean, yeah, the DC you can remove it at any point, and
But the
the thing
monsters
is,
would just sit there on the land.
no,
But you're
they will
saying,
sit and before you harvest, you put back the DC, you harvest, you get your full harvest, again you remove your DC, you get it back into the liquidity pool. It takes time, but it's like if you're talking about 10 million DEC, I think it's time worth taking if it like doubles.
Alex says that wouldn't work. I haven't really thought about this, so I'm just thinking about it for the first time. Alex, could you elaborate on why you say that wouldn't work? Because this is interesting to me. So I have my SPS, I have my DEC. What would you pair it with? Hive, or would you actually sell half of it
No,
off?
with SP with whatever you want, but with SPS, let's say for ease of use, like you have some extra SPS on the side, you just
I think the only way I would do this is if I was moving it to off chain and pairing it with a stable coin. Because if you're pairing it with SPS, you have a problem of SPS running. No, then you get more DEC. So you'd be fine. You the only thing that you would run into trouble with is if SPS went down in price. You lose your production power once you unstake, he says.
I don't know. I mean,
So he's saying when you unstake the DEC to put it into the liquidity pool, your guys stop having PP, so then they don't
yeah,
actually
no, but
earn you anything.
the problem is not the staking. The problem is staking. If staking would go because yeah, like at the end of the week, you unstake it when it's already there. You get your harvest, you put it in liquidity, and before your next harvest, you stake it again. And when you
But no,
unstake
no,
it,
it's because when you harvest, they don't do all the calculations when you press the harvest button. They're calculating every hour. So every hour they're looking at what you have staked, how much DEC you
no,
have
no,
staked.
that's not what the case. The case is once you press one is harvest time, that's the time they check how much you have at the moment, and then they spread it over the whole period that you're harvesting for. That I heard for sure. I know for sure is the case. So my question is, if staking DC does not bring harvest, then unstaking is not a problem because you are unstaking it anyway to put it back in the liquidity when you're harvesting. So it wouldn't bother you the unstaking
Well,
part.
I don't know. That is such an obvious exploit of the system. I can't imagine that's going to be possible to work
Well, I
out
mean, I
with
don't know
nothing.
I don't know if you can even call it an exploit since I mean, just double dipping because you're still having that DC. You cannot sell it because you need it. It's still in your possession. You're just
No,
taking
see,
some.
Alex is saying you're wrong and I'm right. That they are calculating what you earn every hour. But
I'm sure that's not the case. I'm 100% sure that's not the case. That they count every hour. I'm sure. I read somewhere specifically that the whole calculation is at the point of harvesting, and goes around around. I don't know if it was it would if it. I don't remember who I was listening to, one of the team members, but I'm pretty sure they said the whole calculation comes at the time of harvest. So that's the only thing that can
that doesn't make any
possible.
sense because then right before you harvest, you could stake a whole bunch of DEC and up how much you would earn for that time. And the
You
reason
won't up
why
it. You won't up it. You just reach to the point where you get whatever you were
yeah,
supposed to get.
but the reason why that would be broken is because then I could instead of deploying my DEC, like I would be a better like I would want to split my land between two accounts then, and what I would do is I would stake all my DEC to one account and do my claim for one tract on Saturday, and then stake all my DEC on
Yeah,
Sunday
that's
to
also
the other
yeah, that's
account
also
and do my claim, and then move the DEC back to the other account after it sat in a liquidity pool for a week, and then pull it out and put it on Saturday, and then do that over and over again, and I'd be not staking as much DEC into the
yeah, and
system.
that's why I was saying like a potential exploit that because the only thing that it leads me to think like what I heard was that was like okay, but then if they're only checking how much DC you have staked upon harvest, then that DC can be used for other stuff as well. I mean, obviously you cannot spend it, but you can deploy it in a way.
Yeah, and Virus is saying, please note that staking or unstaking DEC in a region will trigger a harvest for all the players' lands plots within that region. So yeah, so you stake the DEC to the region, and it causes a harvest. And if you unstake it, it causes a harvest that happens before your staking or unstaking happens. They've already solved it.
Okay, well, cool.
So
But
cool, no exploit.
yeah, well, hopefully now. But it's definitely something I'm going to check once it hits Mouth server.
Yeah, but they're saying basically that when you do a stake, it doesn't harvest. That way you get a payout based on what your stakes were before. And when you unstake, it does a harvest before it gives you the DEC. That way you get a payout for what you had in there. And so either of those actions will create a harvest. And I think that you can harvest whenever you want because of that. But yeah, for sure, Tails. The thing that we need to all do is go reread the white paper because this is about to go live, and we all read this months ago and did videos on it months ago. Maybe it's time to go do let's recap the white paper and how this all actually is going to work now that it's coming here.
I'm more
is what is needed.
I'm more a fan of like, okay, now you have it, guys. Go play with it and figure it out, like on the Mouth server, and then all those like misconceptions or whatever doubts, you can just go and live test it and figure out what's right and what's wrong.
Yeah. I don't think that what you're saying is going to be something that actually is possible to do in the game, because if it is found on the map server, they'll fix that. Because the idea of land is to lock up the DEC into the land. If you could magically just pop it back out and put it into liquidity pools, then land wouldn't soak up 7 million billion DEC like ever. It would never do that. It would totally break everything that land's meant to do. So I don't think what you're saying is possible.
At least Virus said that the white paper reads like I am correct. So there is probably a way it's worded. I do understand that there is.
Well, I think the thing that was confusing to all of us is that you were saying at the time of harvest, and not also saying that when you unstake and stake, it causes a harvest to happen.
Yeah, no, I knew that unstaking does cause a harvest, but I was thinking that's not the issue because, anyways, if you'll be unstaking it to put it in the liquidity pool, you would want to do it with a harvest because that would be the whole point.
Yeah, but so it's a good thing on the way out, but it's a bad thing on the way in. But to Tails' point, you can stake monsters to the land without staking DEC, because the way that it's going to work is that I'm going to stake, like theoretically, I'm going to stake 2 million DEC to each region. That's not what each tract. That's not what I'm actually going to do. But or I'm going to stake 4 million. Actually, the way it's going to work, it's going to be to the region. So I'm going to stake that much, and I'm going to have 200 lands, and I can put monsters on all of my land, and then on all 200 of them, assuming I have them cleared and everything, we'll just skip that. But in the world where all my monsters are staked to my land, and I have all that DEC staked into the region, then when I do my claim, it's gonna look at the amount of PP that I have staked, or the amount of monsters at level that I have staked, because not all of them are max level, not all of them cost 10,000 DEC, and it's gonna say you needed to have this much DEC.
Yeah.
Right, and then they're gonna say you had 70% of the DEC that you needed to have. Here, you can have 70% of your reward. The other 30% of it you lose and don't get because you didn't have enough DEC staked. Please stake more DEC next time. Then I can take those 70% of the rewards and I can theoretically go sell them out and get more DEC, stake it to the region. So next time I do it, I now get 72% of my reward, and so on and so forth, until I reach the amount of DEC that would give me 100% of my rewards. And then at that point, if I'm somebody who loves land, my next step is going to be to go, which one of these monsters is the easiest to replace with a higher PP monster, and go ahead and do that. But that's the way I understood that it's going to work when it comes to earning. The other thing that they did mention, and this must be because Matt saw this exploit, and because I remember this now, is whether you stake or unstake, it causes a harvest to happen, and that can be.
Yeah, I knew that's true.
That can be a monsters. You don't want to overdo that, because every time you do a harvest, you have to pay a tax. So
Well, you have to
there,
pay regardless. You
yeah.
just pay tax on more, which would be more tax anyways. It doesn't, in no way it harms you if you do it every hour.
Yeah, but basically you couldn't take it out and have them keep earning at a good level because it would cause a harvest, and then they when you went to put it in, you would get a harvest, but you get a harvest with like zero DEC in the pool.
Yeah,
And so
so that's why the whole idea was like, I wasn't like I was sure the staking or unstaking monsters does trigger a harvest. I was sure unstaking DC does trigger a harvest. I was not sure staking DC does that as well. So now that it's clear that it does, I guess it's a hole that is closed. But as I said, I'm sure that when I was listening, it was in my brain working like, well, then if that's the case, then how about people were just using their DC in an LP and then just putting it right before the harvesting? But yeah, I'm glad that it's not an exploit and it's been taken care of. It
yeah,
just sounded
yeah, like now that you got me thinking of exploits, one exploit that maybe I could do, and I wonder if this would be true and something to think about and see if the chat says no or yes, but you want to think about exploits, let's think about this one. I stake all my monsters to my 200 lands. I have them earn me a whole bunch. No, no, because it's all calculated like you said when you harvest. Because I was thinking,
yeah.
could I unstake my, like, let's say I fully deployed, I'm only earning 7% of my rewards. So I unstake 30% of my monsters and then I harvest so that I earn 100% of the rewards. But since they
But
calculate my PP at the time of harvest, it's not an exploit. Yeah, see, so they fixed it by
Yeah,
just
when you
all
unstake
the
them
quick little
before it,
things that I could think of are fixed because it's calculated when you claim and it's calculated when you stake it in. So it
basically
all works.
any change that you do on your land triggers a harvest.
Triggers a harvest so that you
What
can't
what
exploit it. So sorry,
what
Alex,
if
we
you
couldn't find a real exploit for you while we were thinking in our heads.
oh, but no, okay, one more thing. What if you put like, because no, there is like if you can claim only once per hour, then within that 1 hour you cannot trigger a second harvest. Was that something that can be exploitable?
I don't know. I'm not really looking to exploit the game, but I guess it's good to think about
No.
it so we could find them ahead of
Yeah, when
time.
you look for exploits, it's
Yeah.
not so you pro. I mean, if I was looking for exploits to profit, I wouldn't be sharing with you guys. I
I
would be
don't know.
keeping
We
it
have a
for
small
myself.
audience, and we're at 2.5 hours. Not many people make it this far. No.
Oh, still, I mean, I will be making, I will be taking advantage of it. I wouldn't be sharing. If I'm sharing, it's like if you find something, we just need to find a
It
way
would be
to
for us and the
solve it.
14 people that are diehards and still here right now.
Yeah, right. Nah.
But I don't know. It's getting pretty late, so I think we should start wrapping things up because if we keep
Uh,
going down the rabbit hole of this white paper, we're going to be here all night.
oh, I don't
So
mind. I can be here all night.
I got to get to sleep. I'm getting tired. So
Yeah, yeah,
I know you'll just keep going, man. It's amazing. But
yeah. I'll early shift in the morning, so yeah.
yeah. Uh, so I think, guys, unless you have any last minute questions, we've verified that there are no exploits that we are aware of, and we're going to start wrapping this up.
Thanks for being around, guys, and yeah, Alex. I'm not sharing exploits,
Oh,
but
dude. I will say, guys, I beg to be on the next conspiracy stream
with after sound.
with
Well, he was
After
here.
Sound.
You could ask him. I mean,
I know I did. I asked him in his video, and he did say that he'd invite me next time. So hopefully
also
I'll be
also
on
he
it.
wants
Cause
also he wants
I've
us.
went super deep into a couple of those conspiracies they talked about, and the one I'll talk about really quickly. If you watch that stream, because I did a lot on the moon, but nobody mentioned the very last Apollo mission. And if you dig into the records in the very last Apollo mission, when they left, the astronauts documented the fact that yeah, you have your tin. They documented the fact that when they were leaving, there were sounds, lights, and effects coming from behind them from the moon. So like that there was something else on the
Party?
moon
A party going on?
doing things.
Techno party?
And the thing that's pretty amazing about that, because like they're all right. The conspiracies are basically that the moon is actually a ship, and the reason why it's in the perfect place in our orbit to create the tides of our planet that actually make our planet work is because some kind of smart person realized that if we put an object right here, it's going to move the oceans in the perfect way to create the magic that is needed to create life on our planet. And that was not put there by accident. And it doesn't stay there by accident. It is some kind of ship. That's why when you bang something into it, it reverberates and makes sounds. There was somebody there. They did tell us to go away. And that's why the last astronauts that left said that they were basically blaring alarms and lights and all kinds of things, letting you know, stop coming to our ship. And we have never gone back. And like they said, if you ask NASA, how did we get there? They'll say, we don't know. We forgot. We can't do that anymore.
We were not invited to that rave party. And no Stop Jackie, I don't love flat Earth unless it's my Pretoria land. It can be flat, then I don't mind.
Dude, I looked into flat Earth.
Calderas, man. I need so many fire cards, and I need to get rid of some of my max gold for common reward cards because they're not fire. I need to change them for blood makers. Anybody exchanging gold for blood makers for any other max gold for common from any other Splinter? Just hit me up, man, because I
Wait, for which ones? What do you need?
I need blood makers, like gold for blood makers max level.
Oh, okay.
And I like Bellacore bandits, Bellacore mercenaries, whatever it is, the other ones. Yeah, I'm willing to exchange one for one if there is any interest.
I have to admit the Van Halen belt was new to me. The idea that you can't go to the moon, which then leads toward it's all fake, which means that all these conspiracy theories about the sounds and the stuff from the records of the Apollo missions wouldn't count either if it was just fake and we didn't go. And I'm not saying that I couldn't believe that, because there is something weird when you think about, like, we only went to the moon during this one time in history. We never went back, and we, like, that doesn't make any sense to me, like logical sense, because it's been what, like 50 years since we've been to the moon. And we even have like a private company who makes space rockets now. You think Elon would just send something to the moon for fun at this point, but he's not.
And a lot of people are saying that the videos we saw from some guy actually being on the moon were shot in the studio.
Yeah, and then I have seen what Rogue talked about on that one, and I know we're staying super late now, and we went into conspiracy mode because nobody watches this late. But I have seen the videos Rogue's talking about where NASA is doing stuff in front of a green screen, and I think NASA has even like kind of admitted that sometimes they do stuff in front of a green screen because it's way cheaper to mimic the effects of space in front of a green screen than actually have people in space. So
did you just put that hand over there on your corner?
No. What did that come from?
Somebody figured out we're talking conspiracy theories.
Yeah, I have no idea how somebody put a hand in that image. Who is the smart person that did that? Thanks, Alex says the first nuclear bomb videos were fake. I didn't hear that.
Wow, see how they censor.
But yeah, what I was going to say about the flat Earth one, though, when I looked into it super hard, which I had no idea, because that's like, it was getting super popular a couple years ago, so I started going down that rabbit hole a little bit, and it's like super religious. The flat Earth, like the whole thing about flat Earth, kind of I thought was weird. That like the firm believers believe it because it's a religion and religious aspects of it. And I'm like, oh, that's why so many people believe in it so hard, because religion can get people to believe a lot of stuff. Because but I have to admit, if the Earth was flat and we were surrounded by a giant ice wall, that would pretty much guarantee that the creation story that they tell in their, it was true, and we're on this little tiny flat thing that was created by a
On top
god.
of elephant in a giant turtle. I mean, come on.
But yeah, that was basically it. But flat Earth is pretty much disproved by physics. When I looked into it a little bit, like the videos to prove flat Earth, and then the videos to not like debunk flat Earth, debunk it super hard. So if you believe in math and physics, it's really, really hard to believe in flat Earth. So
It's in general hard to believe in flat Earth. Full stop. I mean, yeah, if you were like 2 centuries
well, no,
ago,
but I mean, if you watch their videos, just like any good conspiracy video, they'll make you believe it.
oh yeah, same thing with same thing with people preaching the Bible. They'll make you believe it that some guy was walking on water and was
well,
turning
yeah.
water into wine.
I don't. We don't have to. I don't like going into that one as much because
Yeah,
I don't want to scare away
sure, but
anybody with faith. But
it's still just a conspiracy theory. So
Flat Earth Dave, I've never heard of Flat Earth Dave. But I've watched some of their videos, and like they'll have lots of videos that prove it because they'll say like, certain times when boats go out to sea, if the Earth was curved, they should get out of our view. They don't get out of our view quick enough. They'll prove that no matter where you are, you can't, like with the most advanced telescopes, you can't see the actual curvature of the Earth, and you should be able to, and yada 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 yada. But that's all in their videos. And then when you go to like a debunks video and they do the same experiment, the ship does go out of view, the Earth does show its curve. They're just
yeah,
like doctoring their videos, to
is
make
all
it
your
seem like it's
is
not.
is all it does like are all shots taken on Earth from outer space are like fakes. There's not a real one from any spacecraft that is showing how we are actually round like a a ball.
Oh, it looks like Tails might make some trades for you. Maybe.
Oh,
But he's got exploding rats and bonesmiths.
well, for that I need those are rares, right?
He's saying he wants greens, earth rares, blossoms, and seedsmiths.
Well, yeah, I'll check whatever. Yeah, I definitely don't need any earth, so yeah. Tails, maybe we
Yeah,
can
see,
work.
look, Stock Jockey's pretty hard into the flat Earth too. He talks about the cameras that can bring the boats back into view.
Oh, so
I
he's
mean, it's
after, not me.
definitely a pretty like convincing like thing they show in those videos that like look, they say the Earth is this big, they say the curve is here. If I stand here, I shouldn't be able to see there, and then they go there and they stand there and they go, look, I can still see it. There's no curve. So maybe the lie to us is the Earth. They don't know how big the Earth is, because, but
That's just
I mean, it is kind of interesting. I don't know. I don't know the exact math of how you figure out how big the planet actually is, but
I mean,
I'm
well,
not
people having
that
only ships.
educated in those things.
Well, people having only ships, I can understand it. Even then, maybe not quite. But I mean, now there are airplanes, man. Come on. I mean, don't you think that somebody would have figured that you can actually, if you want to go to point A to point B, you can just go one way. You cannot go the other way because you cannot go around the Earth because it's flat. It's just
The reason I think also people believe in flat Earth like so vehemently is because if you
because they're
believe in
watching the
flat
glasses.
Earth and it is correct, it proves the existence of God. And then once you can absolutely prove that existence, that like the God in your Bible is real, then you no longer need to fear death because you can go to heaven for sure because you've proved this now. And that's why they love it so much, because in their mind it creates like all that doubt that is in their mind about religion disappears, especially if basically all of science has been lying to us all of our lives and we really live in this little
Yeah,
flat ecosystem that they've been hiding
stupid
from you.
scientists, how dead
So
and coming with all this
Stock
science.
Jockey says we live in a realm. Stock Jockey wants to go outside the Arctic seawall to go to the other line. Like some of the things that I've heard the flat earthers say, like you can't go to Antarctica, but there are cruises that at least will take you down near Antarctica and let you go onto the ice for like a few hours. They won't let you actually though like just stay there. They do make you leave. So it's not that you can't go there, it's you can't stay there necessarily. And I do like the conspiracy about how if you go down there, there's a entrance to Hollow Earth based on that pilot. I've heard that one too. That one's pretty interesting. Who said that happened?
And somebody was telling you to stop for a long time on your camera thing. There is a stop, like stop, stop talking,
Stop talking. Am I gonna get? Are they gonna ban me from YouTube?
I don't know. I mean, just take the warning, man. I mean, just,
Tails. I like Tails right there. So we're saying all the scientists for generations were wrong, but a guy with a camera watching a boat is definitive.
Oh, of course. I mean, it makes sense. I mean, stupid scientists. Who believes in science anyway? That's just they're manipulating us with science.
Yep. You have to understand, Tails, that the truth of the matter isn't that the scientists are wrong. It's that they're lying to you. It's a conspiracy. They know the truth. But you know, like, if you knew, Tails, that we lived inside of basically a dome created by this God that loved us all, you'd probably just quit your job and go live out in nature and just be happy because, when you die, you just go to heaven anyways. You know, so I wouldn't have to slave my life away inside a cubicle every day.
Exactly.
I don't know. But yeah, it got later because we went ahead and did the conspiracy thing.
Oh, you did?
I still don't know how somebody put a stop sign on my camera image. Whose voodoo did that? Did anybody claim it?
I'm pretty sure you did it somehow. Like
I don't even know how to do that.
Raising a hand or whatever it is. Like I don't know neither. But...
I didn't turn on hand though.
See?
And now I flipped our video when I did that. That's interesting.
It disappeared now.
Maybe Jim did it somehow.
You just removed it, man. So you did it yourself.
It was the FBI. Oh, that's good. That's good. You know what? Too, I think would be fun would be because Aftersound didn't want to do it, but it would be interesting to do a political chat with the Splinterlands people too. But I don't know where they would be political, and I don't know how many of them are even in the United States to care. But it's
I'm out. I don't really want. But see, talking about Aftersound, he mentioned several times his stream. He will be more than happy to come here. So maybe we should invite him one of these days.
Tails is funny. He said, "Right, fairy tales make me feel better too." Come on, Tails, wouldn't it be fun if we lived in a little dome? Well, all of our worries would be solved, man.
Yesterday I was watching Aladdin. Pretty funny movie.
Which one?
Aladdin.
Oh, Aladdin. Okay, yeah. If we could all find lamps with genies, that would be cool too.
I was like, okay, so many things I can do with it.
Alex said no, political would get too messy. Yeah, I guess if people can't take political at this point, people can't like just talk about it, which is kind of a bummer. Because it'd be nicer if we could just talk about it without people getting all angry. But I agree with him. He might be right. Also, I need to resize this thing. So let me just fix this a little bit. I felt bad. I was blocking your face earlier with one of Tails' massive messages for a little while. Who cares
about my face, man?
I know you don't care. I just realized I accidentally clicked on one of his like paragraphs and left it up for a little bit too long. Guys, buy more of my cards, yeah? And if somebody could be really nice,
I figured it out.
Oh, you figured out how to do it. I did too, kind of, but I didn't turn it on to my knowledge. But I must have turned it on somehow.
Oh, you didn't combine your cards to your knowledge neither.
No, I don't want to combine them all now. That's very scary because they're all on one account. So I'm not touching that. I'm not doing anything like that on stream anymore ever again. All I was going to show them is that I have a bid that no one's selling to, and I want someone to sell me some cards. Look, let me think. Oh, I have to update my bid. Somebody went over me. Okay, I'll go $1.20 to go back over him. I need gold foil Minotaurs, 20 of them. And
Only?
I'm willing to pay $1.20, guys. Come on, somebody come give them to me. It's good value, right?
Probably, I don't know.
I don't know. What are they going for nowadays? Let's go take a quick look. Did I just overbid their price? That would be kind of funny. Gold. Where's that Mr. Minotaur guy? Right here. No, $1.44 they're up to. I bought a whole bunch the other day at $1.17, so that was a pretty good buy. But I'm trying to get a max level one. I have a level 7 so far.
Yeah,
So
and
yeah,
to separate.
they're spiking up. Unfortunately, I was just trying to pick up
As,
one. I
as
sold.
everything else.
Yeah. Well, all the golds are all the untamed cards are going to start to spike up. But like, I got to figure out what to do with them. Cause see, like, look, like I have like a level 6 of this one, but I think I listed that for sale. Cause I was going to sell this to buy these, cause they basically have the same, but this one's way cheaper. So I can sell that level 6 and then get this one to max level. That's what I was trying to do, but so far it hasn't quite worked. Yeah, because I'm trying to sell some of these. I'm trying to get a couple of these untamed to high level. Maybe like this beta. Like, see, like this one, I have him at level 8. But yeah, really, we have to go. Bye, guys. Yeah, Tails, you do give us a lot of info. But I'm going to move us back on screen. I just want to say thanks for everybody that hung out with us. We are at far too long. We went down some conspiracies, and I hope you have a good night. Go ahead and say goodbye to them.
Yeah, I mean, thanks guys for being around, being pretty active chat today. A lot of people, happy to see that, and see you next Monday probably.